Thought he wants time, I think it's a diamond. Oh, you never need likes to feel like somebody, and you never need hearts to live like a king. Oh, child, why you young? You gotta take your time, you gotta take your time, you gotta feel yourself in the moment, feel yourself in the moment. Oh, child, why you young? You gotta take your time, you gotta take your time, you gotta feel yourself in the rhythm, 'cause this world it's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. If you ever feel small or thinking nobody, you won't need to chase stars to have a reason to dance. So dance, don't know the rivers down to the clouds, and any moment they'll be open just to pull you down. You gotta hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh, child, why you young? You gotta take your time, you gotta take your time and feel yourself in the moment, feel yourself in the moment. Oh, child, why you young? You gotta take your time, you gotta take your time and feel yourself in the rhythm, 'cause this world it's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. Ooh, child, you were meant to run wild. 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 I see you and me dancing on the street, running through the middle of this broken love. Just you and I, moving through the night, caught up in the middle of this broken love. I see you and me singing through the street, running through the middle of this broken love. Just you and I, flying through the night, caught up in the middle of this broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love.
The Morning Invasion.
I suppose we should get going.
Let's go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0.
I could say to kick off the show every morning? You need a catchphrase.
It's the 6 o'clock hour, and you know what that means. Time for the boys. I got
Yeah, if you could help us with a catchphrase, that'd be great.
Catchphrase.
Yeah, everybody needs a cool catchphrase.
Shabow!
You know? Shabow! Like, that's what we're known for. Shabow! God. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Ah, there it is right there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I do 4 good mornings in a row in a weird, odd voice. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Nah, it's stupid. What's up, everybody? It's Thursday. Live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios.
How is it already Thursday?
Shout out to Drew and Mike from Detroit. Mike passed away, I guess, day before yesterday. And he's a fellow radio brother. Rest in peace, man.
What?
Rest in peace. He was 63. I mean, he was up there in age, and he smoked a lot. So, but, you know, he's like a brother, you know, because he's a morning guy.
Wait, a morning co-host died?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Granted, he hasn't been on the air for like 10 years, but he used to be, like, Drew and Mike were like the big show in Detroit. How do I know this? Well, I live with the Petersons. They're from Detroit. So.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No. But, you know, if somebody passes away and you know, radio.
Yeah.
It's a small world, man. We're all connected somehow. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Star 88 FM. You guys can chime in, be a part of the show, hang out with us. It's like a chat room from the 80s and the 90s is when chat rooms started,
yeah,
right?
no
yeah,
80s.
It's like chat rooms from the 90s. Hang out with us. Phone lines are open as well. 505-338-3700, and you can text into the show. What's the live line number?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. Brian Nixon coming up at 7. I don't know. Shock Therapy Live, maybe. Maybe not. Not sure.
Okay.
We'll find out. But we got questions, so send them in. So I just showed this video to Steve-O. Shout out to all my Uber and Lyft.
Gosh, man, it made me not just nervous, like it made me nervous for you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Being an Uber and Lyft driver is tough. It's a tough job. Someone's got to do it, man. So if you're out there right now, I salute you. Praying for you. Love you guys. You guys be safe. Follow your gut. That's my motto. Follow your gut. If you feel like you shouldn't pick somebody up, don't pick them up. But I haven't kicked anybody out of my car yet. I probably should have kicked people out of my car, but I haven't kicked anybody out of my car.
Yeah.
This video just went viral. Again, I don't have a dash cam video. I gotta get that. I gotta get a dash cam video. This woman luckily had a dash cam video, and she got into an argument. She went to pick up this couple. They were intoxicated, and they were trying to talk her into going to pick up somebody else. And the Uber driver's like, sorry, I'm not interested. Well, then this couple, they started saying things to her that were not nice. And so she asked very politely to leave the vehicle.
Okay, I need you to exit my vehicle. For what reason? Because this trip is done and over with. I don't matter, but this is my vehicle. This is my personal vehicle.
And the girl in the back has tacos.
There we go. Oh, okay.
You're on camera, lady.
Okay.
She threw the tacos.
So, like 3.
You're good?
Let me
Look
theater
at
of imagination
Yes,
this, okay? Not just like, oh, here's a little baggie of tacos. They had 3, okay? 3 full styrofoam carry-out boxes.
Yes.
Full of tacos.
Full of tacos.
And lettuce and meat and tacos
Yes.
go everywhere in this
Assault.
lady's face and car.
Just chucked them right at the Uber driver's face. Oh, man, there's tacos
You're
everywhere.
on camera, lady.
Yeah.
You're good?
I
Look
can
at this.
so relate to this.
I'm calling the cops right now. Look at this.
I don't
What
know
you
if you
just
should call
did.
the cops. I mean,
Kyle,
they're just
I
tacos,
need you to
lady.
come and see the mess that just happened.
Yeah, she threw tacos.
Look at what she did. And this
Why
is
are
on
you-
camera,
why
by
are
the
you
way.
doing
this
this
is
job
your
still?
responsibility.
Why am I
this
still
job?
doing the
Don't
job?
do the job anymore. There's crazies like that.
Steve-O, I've
Yeah.
been in this exact situation before.
Somebody threw tacos at you?
Yes, I've been in the exact same situation.
All right, that's enough. I'm going to need you to exit the vehicle
Luckily, I recorded
because
it.
the trip is done. It's over with. Ma'am, this is my vehicle. This is my personal vehicle. I'm going to need you to exit the vehicle.
It's almost
Whoa,
exact-
whoa, you're on camera, lady. Whoa, tacos? Oh my gosh, look at this. So not only do I get tacos, I'm going to charge you $200.
Yep.
Because you just threw food all over my car.
Yeah.
I'm calling the cops.
I'm not even going to call the cops because it's a win for me. You threw tacos, which, you know, I'm hungry and I love tacos.
Yeah, win-win.
And I'm charging you $200.
Look at this. What you just did.
Look at this. This is amazing.
Kyle, I need you to come and see the mess
Kyle,
that just
check
happened.
this out. Look, do you want some? Do you want some of these? I got like 5 tacos here. They're a little.
Yeah, she threw tacos.
Look at what she did. And this is on camera.
And this
by
is,
the way. This is
by the way, this is all on camera. So I get to use this for my radio show. It's going to be great. I'm going to get tons of web hits. I mean, I don't even have to go back to work tonight. I just made $200 and I got free dinner.
I'm done Ubering for the
I'm done Ubering for the night. This is awesome.
Way to take a negative and turn it
I
into a
mean,
positive.
this is my job. I actually get paid to do
So
this.
great.
I drive people around and they feed me and they throw things in my car so I can charge them extra money. It's amazing.
I'm losing money.
I'm not losing any money. I just made money.
Actual audio.
Yeah.
Happened to me the other night. Some idiots threw tacos in my face.
Uh-huh.
I was starving. I hadn't ate dinner. And I was like, okay, cool. I had $200 deposit right there. Boom. Right into my account. Made money. And then I just went on. I went and got it. I went over to a car wash and just vacuumed out all the extra taco stuff. And then I went back to Ubering. Come on, man. That lady, she needs to not be so sensitive. Yeah, it's a crazy world out there. I saw another story. Some Uber driver, the passenger fell asleep in the back seat, and the Uber driver stole her phone, put in another address to make more money. Actually, like stole like almost $1,000 from this woman who passed out in the back seat.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, like did terrible things and then kicked her out of drug her out of the car. Yeah.
Is this person in jail?
He's still on the loose.
No.
I'm just, he is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm like,
They haven't caught
gosh.
him. He's the, never mind. That was going to be dumb. I know when to stop a bit.
That's good.
Okay? I know when to stop a bit.
Yeah, I felt really bad watching this video though, because this poor lady, there's tacos everywhere, and she's like, "Hey, this is my job, and you just ruined my car. Like I can't drive for the
Did
rest
she
of the night."
though? Did
Dude,
she?
taco meat everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy cleanup, right?
Oh nope.
No?
I don't even let my kids. Like Brody went to the dentist and got a candy for doing so good at the dentist, and I'm like, cool. Put that in your bag, and as soon as you get home, you can open that candy.
Yeah, they're called seat covers.
Nothing in my car.
Called seat covers. You know? If you're that paranoid over food getting on your seats,
Ugh.
yeah, seat covers.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Have you like had to pick up people like getting groceries or with a bunch of food?
Yeah, the one night I picked up this family at Walmart, and it was a mom and dad and their 2 kids, and they had groceries. So I filled up my trunk full of groceries.
Yeah.
And they had 2 bean bags, and I had to figure out how to get the bean bags in.
Is that real?
That was real. So the dad sat in the front seat, and then mom and the 2 kids and the 2 bean bags were in the back.
Amazing.
I get them to their apartment. I help them with the groceries up like 3rd floor apartment into their. I help them,
No
and I'm
tip.
like, I should get a good tip from this. I didn't get one. I didn't get a tip. I didn't get a tip.
Knew it.
Which is fine. Fine. I do it for the love. I don't do it for the
you
money,
don't.
guys.
No, you don't.
I
You
do it for the
definitely
love.
do it for the money.
No, it's all about the love.
Oh, man.
I love it. It's great.
That's why everyone needs to go subscribe to Don't Sweat the Small Stuff on YouTube so that my boy here doesn't have to hustle anymore.
Yeah, I know. I should just do a YouTube show that's about picking people up in Uber and Lyft. And then I could tell them when they get in the car, hey, I'm doing a YouTube show. You can either get in or you can just call another Uber.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if I disguised their voice or blurred their faces out. I wonder if that's still okay.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Taxi cab confessions, man.
I was like, wait. Brody went to the dentist and got candy? Yeah, dude, job security. No, they give him these, like, fluoride
Fun dip.
suckers.
They give him fun dip.
They're these weird, like, dentist lollipops.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm not even joking. And so it's like candy, quote unquote, but it's, I don't even know how to describe it. It doesn't smell amazing, but he loves them. Every time he goes, he gets one of these suckers.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like this weird thing
that's why if you made
apparently it's good for your
vegetables
teeth.
into candy, the kids would eat them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Asparagus pops, you know? Brody would love those.
You know what we've turned to? Sweet potatoes.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
about every
So
meal.
good,
Last
man.
night we cooked burgers and we did sweet potato fries from scratch. We've been doing sweet
Those are the
potatoes a
best.
bunch because the boys will eat them because it's like they're kind of sweet
Yeah.
and they're actually better for you than regular
Yeah.
potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Back in my fat days, my fatty fat days, I used to sprinkle. You know what? I didn't sprinkle. That's a lie. I used to dump brown sugar
Douse.
all over.
yes,
Like I would take 5 tablespoons of brown sugar and dump it on my sweet potato that's already sweet.
oh man,
But it was so good. And then put a whole brick of butter melted into my sweet potato. I miss those days.
Yeah.
I miss them. Yeah. Oh man, big show today. Big show.
Thursday.
Big show.
I can't believe it's already Thursday, guys. We are flying through this week.
We are?
yeah.
Okay.
No,
No, I don't think so.
dude, you said Thursday, and I was like, wow, it's already Thursday.
Oh, that means, you know what? Mega Millions. Did you buy your ticket?
Oh, no, I didn't. I probably should have because listen,
Guys.
of all the weeks of the year, of the entire year,
Got it.
this is the brokest week of my existence.
Oh, wow. I can't afford $2. Wow.
Tuesday was my son's birthday, and today is my 16th wedding anniversary. Shout out to me for planning on having a kid the same week as my wedding anniversary.
There's $2. Buy one today. I get 50% of your winnings.
50% of
okay?
the winnings.
There you
I
go.
need it. I need it
All right.
because I still,
Guys, Mega
gotta
Millions.
take the wife out.
$900 million is what Mega Millions is up to. And I plan to win on Friday. And when I win, I will buy a mansion next door to Jake Paul. And I will outdo him constantly every day, making sure that I
Yes.
have bigger and better toys
Absolutely.
than YouTube star Jake Paul.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Okay.
Yep. Can't wait, man. After taxes, $500 million.
But
Yeah. Yep.
like that just wouldn't even feel like real life.
Well, it's not supposed to. When you win that much money. Some idiot's going to win it, and they're going to
And they're
interview the
gonna-
person. They're
yeah.
going to be like, I'm going to pay off my house and my car, and maybe I'll take a vacation. Are you going to quit your job? No. I love my
No.
job.
6 months later, they're going to be in the news.
Yeah, probably.
That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible.
Yep. It's true. So we'll see what happens.
It's like Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson. Too much, too soon.
Wow, man.
Not ready for it.
I'm not ready to talk about
And
that.
then
That
it's
was
over.
That was a huge breakup
And
that I'm
it's
not
over.
ready to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Pete's still excited and pumped that he actually had a chance to hang out with her that long.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, we got to take a break. Good
Yeah.
morning, everybody.
Dude, B-Nick's on the show this morning.
You mentioned B-Dubs, Buffalo
Yeah.
Wild Wings yesterday,
Yeah,
and
I did.
how Arby's bought them.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, wait till you see what kinds of things they're adding to the menu.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Got that coming up for you. Some more stuff in the news to talk about. Things that are trending. How's the Starmy doing? How you doing out there? You guys chime in. What's going on, guys? Anything cool happening in your world? We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Star 88 FM. And, of course, phone lines are open when we come back at 505-338-3700. What's the live line of texting?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483.
Live from the Dream Style Remodeling Star 88 Studios. We'll be right back.
Dex, don't you think fall is the primo time in New Mexico?
True enough. When else do pigs fly?
I mean, I was kind of going for green chili roasting and turning trees, but...
Whatever. You just like October 31st when you get to wear a cape and tights to get candy.
Okay, let's not go there.
Okay, but let's go to the Fall Fest on the west side.
I'm there, man. Montano Plaza, Coors in Montano, bounce houses, obstacle courses, costume contests.
And lots of food, and of course, free candy for you, Steve-O, 6 p.m. on October 31st.
It's a favorite night for kids. Let's make it safe at the Calvary Church Fall Fest, Coors and Montano.
Details at calvarynm.church.
This week on Connect with Skip Heitzig, Skip tells you what to do when you face the attacks of the devil.
Apply the blood of Jesus Christ to your life, to all of those accusations that come from Satan. You're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're this, you're that. Apply the blood of the Lamb.
Connect with Skip Heitzig this week as he continues his series, What's Next?
Make an appointment for Skip Heitzig weekdays at 8 a.m. on our sister station, KNKT 107.1 FM. Charles Stanley said this: the Holy Spirit doesn't add to our great strength. Instead, His strength is perfected in our weakness. A Star 88 Solar Flare.
I need you to fight for me when I don't know what I believe. Why does everybody leave? Show me what it's like to dream. Hey, go, you the best. Hey, say it with your chest. Hey, yeah, wave 'em high, side to side. Let 'em know we gon' rise, we gon' shine. Hey, I need you to fight for me. Hey, I know you're my therapy. I know why we fight. It's just to know we tried. Hey, eye drops. How do I start it off? Pulling all these hours, trying to keep it all clear. I got way too many thoughts, putting these expectations got me feeling stuck like. Think I feel it all the time. Did I really miss my pride? I don't know how to cope when I'm low, but I know that you're close, that you're close. I've been away, yeah, losing my faith, yeah. Hope I'm not late, trying to find grace, yeah, for my mistakes. Ay, I need to pray, yeah. I need to pray, yeah. Wake up to the mirror like I need you to fight for me when I don't know what I believe. Why does everybody leave? Show me what it's like to dream. Hey, go, you the best. Hey, say it with your chest. Hey, yeah, wave 'em high, side to side. Let 'em know we gon' rise, we gon' shine. Hey, I need you to fight for me. Hey, I know you're my therapy. I know why we fight. It's just to know we tried.
Say you gon' fight, you ain't try, you don't lie right. Send a prayer up, go a line, you don't find time. Down yet, homie, down yet. Pick me up off the ground, yeah. Almost drawn, yeah. Pull me out, yeah. Sheesh. Wasn't in my right mind. Yeah. Reach out for me like a lifeline. I've been with you so long, it felt like a lifetime. So connected to you, I could be your Wi-Fi. I was a fight, left hook, right cross, just and right. Out my way, class feel too light. Lose my faith, I lose my life. I've been lost and feeling lonely. Tell them they can't hold me. Looking in the mirror like, when you fight for me.
Fight for me when I don't know what I believe. Why does everybody leave? Show me what it's like to dream. Hey, go, you the best. Hey, say it with your chest. Hey, yeah, wave 'em high, side to side. Let 'em know we gon' rise, we gon' shine. Hey, I need you to fight for me. Hey, I know you're my therapy. Hey, yeah, wave 'em high, side to side. Let 'em know we gon' rise, we gon' shine. Hey, I need you to fight for me. Hey, I know you're my therapy. I know why we fight. It's just to know we tried. I need you to fight for me.
Jesus is our king, but do you treat him like royalty? Here's Tim Keller on a Star 88 PowerPoint.
Christians have been part, historically, of trying to topple tyrants and kings and put in place democracy. But the question that comes up is, in spite of that, why this fascination with kings? Why do the old legends have such powerful impact on us? And not only that, why do they still have powerful impact on us? Why is it that in the countries that still have some kind of royalty left, some kind of royal line, that the people are obsessed with the royalty? Why is it that in lands like America, where there is no king, there is no royal line, we have to create them? So we take billionaires, and we take athletes, and we take media stars, and we even take criminals, and we turn them in to kings. We crown them. They hold court. We adore them. Why is it that there's a significant part of the population that's constantly giving themselves over to the sway of dynamic, charismatic figures who abuse them?
That's the PowerPoint with Tim Keller on Star 88.
Hey, what's going on in the news today?
Severe flooding in Texas, forcing the governor to issue disaster declarations in 18 counties.
The rushing water here came up 5 feet in 15 minutes.
Saudi Arabia finally gave Turkish forensics investigators access to the Saudi Consul General's residence in Istanbul.
I want to find out what happened. Where is the fault?
Turkish officials claim the Saudis executed Khashoggi.
A high-ranking official at the Treasury Department is now charged tonight, accused of leaking sensitive financial information in several high-profile cases.
President Trump presented the nation's highest military honor to a Vietnam veteran.
Retired Sergeant Major John Canley received the Medal of Honor.
In Canada, the first legal purchase of marijuana has officially been made.
The 0-2, Granderson to third, and a strikeout ends Game 5. The Dodgers win it 5-2 and lead 3 games to 2.
Kimbrel deals, Bregman in the air, left field, Benintendi dives, and he makes the catch! Oh, what a play! Game saver! The Red Sox win! Wow, what a finish!
I'll have a Trenta no foam 5-shot half cap, no foam pumpkin spice latte with no foam at 210 degrees.
I hate pumpkin spice invading my whole life, you know.
And today I'm bringing you a review of a really fun Tony of Beverly wig. And the color on this is pumpkin spice.
Please take my advice to pumpkin spice. Let's just say no. I started on lattes, but then quickly spread to butter and toothpaste and big loaves of bread. There's pumpkin spice Clorox, pumpkin spice pizza. I'm asking that we all cut pumpkin spice loose.
It's adding a new pumpkin spice pizza to its menu. And if you like that, you're going to love Starbucks' new Linguini Mocha.
I hate pumpkin spice. And I'm gonna say it twice so you know.
Tucker destroys the craze feminist and calls pumpkin spice lattes racist.
Buffalo Wild Wings is now selling pumpkin spice wings.
Wait, is that real?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you mentioned yesterday that Arby's bought out Buffalo Wild Wings.
I did.
And yeah, now they're selling pumpkin spice wings.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
That sounds like the grossest thing on the planet.
Yeah, the wings are covered in a, quote, barbecue pumpkin ale sauce. If you want to try them, well, end of the month. That's you can now till the end of the month, so.
Oh, what is
Report
it with
back.
pumpkin spice,
Report
man?
back.
It like makes my tongue numb.
Really?
It's not good. It's a chemical, guys. It's like a fake taste. It's not real.
Yeah, there's probably 1 or 2 things that I like with pumpkin spice in it, but I like candles.
Britt says her nail shop has pumpkin spice smelling nail polish.
Ooh, that might be good.
Gosh.
Does it make you feel all funny when you inhale?
Well, yeah, it's all. I hate that smell. Yeah.
All right. Well, somebody needs to try them and report back. Okay. There you go. Okay. And apparently, too, Arby's. Speaking of Arby's, they're doing duck meat at certain locations around the country. Remember when they did deer meat?
Yeah.
They're doing duck meat. So I don't know if they're doing it in Albuquerque.
This is when you know they've got it bad financially. When they're starting to like rock gimmicks like this.
Maybe they have too much money.
In hopes to get people through the door. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is. They have way too much money. They're like, let's just try. Let's have fun. You know, let's just have fun.
Yeah.
Peacock meat is next. You watch. Okay.
Charlene says, I like pumpkin spice in my latte. I don't even like lattes. I'm just a black coffee guy. Like, I can't do cream or sugar or any of that junk.
I know, and it stinks. Stinks to stay up every morning.
I'm sorry.
It's so gross, man.
Black coffee, bro.
Mm-hmm. All right, coming up at 7, an hour with Brian Nixon. We'll go back in time on this day. It's very educational.
Yeah.
We learned so much. Shock Therapy Live at 9.
That's right.
All right, so you found a video that I want to talk about.
Which is funny because I saw this and I'm going to be totally honest. I saw this and immediately got, like, irritated at him.
Yeah.
Ugh. You did. Why do people do this? It's like entrapment. This is so lame. What a dumb experiment.
So what did this pastor do?
Pastor James McDonald, he's a pastor in Chicago. We play him on our sister station, KNKT. He's on our solar flares. He's the yelly guy. Ah!
I'm James McDonald.
I'm on at 6 o'clock in the morning on KNKT, and I'm going to yell at you. He used to be on at 5 a.m., like when I was driving into work. Couldn't remember if it was 4:35, whenever it was. And he was always on, and I'd go, gosh, because he'd have great points, but then he'd start yelling, and he'd be like, I can't do this. That's hilarious that I'm saying that. He wanted to see how his congregation would react to a person who appeared to be homeless sitting outside of their campuses on a Sunday morning before service. So James McDonald, I mean, it's a good-looking costume.
Yeah, he looks like a homeless guy.
He went full on. He's, long gray beard, long gray wig. He's unrecognizable, beanie, gloves. Dude's homeless, got a shopping cart, and he's just parked out front of the campuses with a cup and a little sign and just hoping somebody's going to help him out.
Yeah, and it shows everybody walking into church, and they just glance over at him, but just kind of keep walking right into church.
Yeah. So he decided to do this and sat out front of his campuses. And according to the video, if you watch it in full, many of the Harvest Bible Chapel people stopped to help him. It doesn't show that a lot in the video. It actually shows most people, including, like, you saw one dude with, like, a name tag. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is a greeter at the church, and he's like, and kind of stops and goes around the other, going in the other entrance because they don't even want to pass by him. I hate the method. Honestly, it was like, oh, here we go. But then I watched the video, and it's actually quite convicting.
Yeah, so it shows James McDonald walking down the aisle towards the
stage.
Towards the stage, dressed as the homeless guy. It's like everybody's looking at this homeless guy walking towards the stage, and he gets up there and then starts removing the costume. And this is what James McDonald had to say to the congregation.
So I took a few moments a couple of weeks ago and camped outside of a couple of our campuses, and I wanted to see how we were doing, when it's hardest to love. Do you know that your Father in heaven is giving the same graces to the person that's hardest for you to love? He's giving it. He's giving. He doesn't play favorites. He's giving the grace to everyone. And if we're going to love like our Father in heaven loves, we don't get to play favorites. And by favorites, I mean so often we love the people where there's some benefit in it for us, right? Okay, fine. I'll call my brother when I get home. I haven't talked to him for 2 years, but I'll call him. Really, will you? Because that's going to work out pretty good for you, right? Yeah.
So I was watching this, and I immediately, I think I had a different reaction than Steve-O, because at first Steve-O was like, oh my gosh, this is annoying. I hate hate this kind of like method. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, let's just see what happens here. And then after I watched, half the video, I started thinking about it. I'm like, this happens to me all the time where I see, same situation. I see a homeless person.
Yeah. Someone in need.
Pushing a cart. They're dirty. Here's what I have experienced with the homeless, because I feel like I've been there and done that. I haven't been homeless, but I've I went down to a rescue mission. I spent the night there. I learned about them. I educated myself. Also, back in my early radio days in Albuquerque, back in the early 2000s, I used to do a bit where I would take new music and I would go downtown and I would find homeless people and have them review the music. About 99% of the time when I approached a homeless person, they would either attack me or they would scream obscenities at me.
Right.
Because they
weren't all there.
These people are dealing with mental issues. Some of them are. Like, most of them are. That's why they're homeless. Not all of them, but most of them are. So my experience is, and I don't know what it's like for every individual person, but if I walked into that church and I saw that homeless person, my first reaction would be, wow, I'm not going to approach that, because what if that person tries to attack me?
Right.
Because I've had that happen to me.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's some of the mentality when we see the homeless, is that we can be scared.
Is it because we have our safe spaces and we don't want to be inconvenienced?
Right. It could be that.
You know
too.
what I mean? Like, this is my church, bro. This is like my safe place.
Or the church should handle this. Why isn't anybody at the church handling this?
There have been a couple times where we've gotten here and there's a homeless person sleeping in the green belt on the bench.
It's the perfect spot for a homeless person,
right? Especially when it gets cold, like it is now. And at 4:30 in the morning, when you're walking up and it's really dark and you see somebody like on a bench, the last thing I'm going to do is approach them,
right?
Because you're right.
You never know.
I just wouldn't.
Some of them want to be left alone.
Yeah,
like that's the issue. Is that sometimes we want to do good and we mean well, and I think it's great that some of you out there will give food and even money at times. I mean, that's fine. It's depending on who it is. But a lot of times these people, they just want to be left alone because they have mental issues. And that's what's sad about the situation, is you just never know.
Right, you don't. Because for every person that has that mental issue that wants to be left alone, there's somebody else that's a father, a husband,
exactly,
a son, who, a daughter who just lost their job, and maybe they were 2 paychecks away from homelessness, and now they don't know what they're going to do, and they're on the street, and they need help.
Yeah.
But we don't help them.
Right.
Because we're in our safe place.
Right.
So.
But I feel like, watching this video and hearing, him talk about the homeless.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't get to hear the whole sermon, so I can't say if he went into, the mental, like the.
I don't think he did. I think he's just talking about the hardest to love, because, man, when it did break me when he said that God gives the same grace to the person that is hardest to love in our life, because maybe it's not the homeless that's the hardest to love. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe it's a child. Maybe it's a sibling. Maybe it's a parent. Maybe it's a boss.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who is the hardest to love in your life?
Yeah.
And think about the fact that God still gives that same grace to that person. Yesterday, we had a really deep conversation about Mark Driscoll not being on the show yesterday, because people are finding it very hard to love him because they were wronged by him. And rightly so. I mean, they were wronged by him. But how long do we hold on to that? And thinking about how God has those same graces for that person that's the most difficult to love in your life.
Right. Yeah. And like I said before.
Stupid conviction.
It's, if we all would give to these missions, these rescue missions, these shelters out there that the city has, because there's a lot of rescue missions. There's a lot of shelters here in town. And they can't help all of the homeless, because not everybody gives to these shelters.
Yeah.
Like they're nonprofit. They only survive because people give.
Yeah.
And without us giving, our city would be a lot worse. It would be awful. Homeless people would be breaking into places all the time, and and these rescue missions, they give them shelter, they give them water, they give them food, showers, and I honestly feel that is how we need to handle it. Like, it's okay to give food, but give to the shelters, man.
Yeah.
You know? Because what are you going to do? What really are you going to do? Are you really going to help a homeless person? Like, what are you going to do?
Right.
How are you going to help somebody that has mental problems?
What's interesting about this video is James McDonald, if you're just joining us, megachurch pastor in Chicago, he wanted to see how his congregation would react to a person who appeared to be homeless sitting outside of the church on a Sunday morning. There were people who actually stopped, who went out and got food for him, who prayed for him. There were people who even invited him inside for the service that morning. There were people who gave him money. What does the pastor do with that? Does he like give it back like at the end of the message? Because he goes inside and walks down the aisle, you know, this homeless guy, and then walks right up onto the stage and pulls it off, and then it's kind of like the big reveals. Member of the Starmy chimed in and said, kind of sounds like an episode of Undercover Boss. And that's exactly what it reminded me of. You know what I mean? Like, what do they do? You know, like, ha-ha, I gotcha. But at the same time, like, I absolutely understand the point he was making.
Yeah.
Because it is uncomfortable. I do like that. If you watch the video in its entirety, it's about 6.5 minutes. The first half is just people shunning him. The second half, however, is like the kids and the parents and the people that just walked up to pray for him. One time I got to go pick up the boys from school. It's very rare that I get to like take them to school, but you know, we were off and I was here for a couple days, and we were going to the school one day. I can't remember when this was, but there's a homeless guy on the corner of an intersection right near where the boys are.
Mm-hmm.
And as we pulled up, Brody got excited. Jeter Boys got excited because he was there. Because I guess he's there not all the time, but you know,
yeah,
he kind of frequents that intersection. And my family, I mean, unbeknownst to me, kind of like knows this guy. They give him money or they give him water if they have in the car. They give him whatever they have in the car. And it was like, man, that's cool. My kids weren't like roll up the windows and lock the doors.
Yeah.
It was like, he's there. And they were excited to like give him something.
Yeah.
And it just like, man, it wrecked me because I wish I had that attitude all the time.
Right.
But I don't. A lot of times, let's be real, guys, a lot of times I don't even see him. There are some people in the video, it's like, they didn't even like notice.
Right.
It's like, this guy's asleep on the sidewalk next to the church, and they're just walking into Sunday school.
Well, when you see
know
it
what I
every
mean?
day,
Like, yeah.
especially in our city, we see it. If you are down on Central, Lomas, downtown area, you see it all the time.
Oh,
it just
dude.
becomes background.
New York, subway, every time you're in a subway.
Yeah.
Every stop, everywhere. In fact, you'd be sitting in a train car, and somebody would stop, and then like people would come in, and then you'd hear this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really sorry to bother you, but I've fallen on hard times, and I just need, and everybody had a story, this and that and the other. If you could just help me, I just need $7 to catch the train to New Jersey or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Everybody had like a different story, and it's like, thank you for your time and God bless you. And then they'd like take the hat off, and then they'd just walk
Yeah.
to you. And I'm looking around at everybody else, and everybody's got headphones in, everybody's looking down, everybody's looking away, and it's like, hey, don't even pay them attention because then they'll come to you. But it was constantly. So I get that mentality. You just kind of
Right. Yeah.
But how should we respond?
You guys can call in 505-338-3700. Hello.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
I'm not no jokes here this time. This really makes me think about the parable of the talents and how we're all given certain things.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, we all. Sorry, I'm getting choked up.
It's all right. You know, it's okay, Dad.
This is real
It's all
Bill.
right.
Real Bill.
Okay.
Real Bill. No, seriously. We all have things that help us to survive throughout life. You know, I mean, our needs are met, but then we have excess as well.
Yeah.
And that's really what I believe the parable of the talents is. It's you know, God gives us abilities, but sometimes He blesses us with so much more that it's really just excess that we should be spilling over to somebody else's life.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, if you have a little bit more, you have a vehicle that you it's just sitting in your driveway. I'm not
Go ahead,
talking
Bill.
about
No, go
anybody I know in particular.
Go right ahead.
You know what I'm saying?
Just
If
tell
you
everybody.
have an extra room, if you have, you know, things like that, I really believe God wants you to share.
Yeah.
Amen. Seriously.
And a guy like, you know, you see the people around town that are always at the street corners asking for money. You got change in your car.
Yeah.
Give them the change. You know, what they do with the money is their business. But the thing is you've got excess. Free yourself from the excess because it frees you
That's good.
to give even more.
That's good.
So that's all I got.
Love you,
Hey,
Dad.
man, hey, thank you for living it. You live that every day. Oh, okay.
I was just going to say that, you know, because I live with the Petersons, and I just really want to brag on Bill and Kay, and I know they're going to hate me for this, but they really do live that out.
Yep.
And I'm an example, you know. I seriously was about ready to be homeless.
Yeah.
Like, I literally had no place to go.
Yeah.
And
You've been through a lot this last year.
Yeah, and they brought me in, and God, I'm going to start crying if I think about it, because
then I'm going to cry. I'm going to look this way. I can't even look at you. I can't even look at the webcam.
When I think about like what the Petersons have done for me, it's I don't even know how to even begin to pay them back, because I didn't have I had nowhere to go. And
the most incredible thing,
unreal.
though, is here's the most incredible thing.
I'm sorry.
They're not looking for you to pay them back.
That's what's incredible about them,
in Bill's
you know?
mind, and what should be in the hearts and the minds of us as Christians, is that God loves a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
And so we give freely. We give because we've been blessed. We give because, man, He gave us everything. He gave us eternity. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And so, I think when we have the right heart, you're not looking for a gain. You're not looking for a return. You're truly pouring out because you believe God has blessed you so that you can bless others.
Yeah.
So.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Is this the radio station?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No way. I was just listening to you guys, and what came to my mind is the passage in Matthew where it talks about, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was in prison, you visited me. And it goes on to say that when he says, when, Lord, when did I do this unto you? He says, when you've done this unto the least of people, you've done this unto me. So it's the guy at the corner, whoever, you know?
Yeah.
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 Good stuff, man. Thanks for chiming in. Love you, dude.
Yeah. No, love you. God bless you.
See you.
Somebody said, when I was in the Marine Corps station in Japan, we had a general put trash on a sidewalk, and he watched as Marines just walked by and ignored the trash. The one Marine, a private first class, that stopped and tried to clean it up was immediately approached by this general and thanked. He was promoted to Lance Corporal later that day.
No way. You
Talk
never
about
know.
a crazy experiment.
You never know.
You really don't, man.
Yep. Never know.
Man.
That is incredible.
And that's exactly the attitude we should have, because just like that last caller said, Scripture talks about that. Like, man, we're entertaining angels, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we never know. And we're going to miss out because of our, you know, and I don't want to say like a mom should get out of her car and approach a homeless person that they see, you know, like we do still need to use discernment.
Right.
However, I do think there are times where God places us in a situation that we can respond one of two ways. And, man, a lot of times I will say for me personally, I don't respond correctly. I really don't. I wish I thought more of others and less of myself. Seriously. So, kudos to Pastor James McDonald, who, like I said, he's always like yelling and he drives me crazy sometimes. But well done.
Yeah, go watch the video. It's
Yeah.
what Homeless Man is the Pastor is the name of the video.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
So-
it's pretty good. It's a good watch.
Uh-huh,
Brian?
absolutely.
Huh, Brian? You
Huh,
know,
Brian,
you watched
you
it.
know.
You saw it. You cried.
You loved it. You cried all day.
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know too much about Jim McDonald.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Pastor James
He probably
McDonald,
wrote half of his books.
Chicago.
I like Chicago. The Chicago Museum of Art is marvelous.
Yeah.
They have some great museums in Chicago.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's Thursday. No more crying this morning.
No more crying.
We just cried just a second ago. Brian.
We
You
may
missed it.
still bring this back up in the 7 o'clock hour because we've had some really good questions like theologically. So maybe we'll talk
All right.
homelessness and how we respond.
Yeah, 7:30.
Oh,
let's
great.
Do that.
Let's do it.
Let's have that. Our
Maybe 7:30 we'll pick up on it again.
That's called a tease, guys.
That's right.
Tease. Don't tease me, man. All right, 3 Degrees is coming up with our good friend Brian Nixon. Hang out.
A supernova on Star 88 with David Jeremiah.
Mark 7:11 through 13. Jesus teaches that when you go to the Word of God and you try to get away from its impact by adding your own words and interpretation, you are in exact violation of the law that you supposedly are building a fence around. They were hypocrites, and they were substituting outer ritual for inner reality. They drew near to God with their lips, and their heart was far from Him. And according to Jesus, the violation of the Corban rule was not an isolated infraction, because He says at the end, and many such things you do. You do a lot of this stuff. This is not the only thing Jesus says. You're always doing this. Trying to figure out a way not to live under the impact of the law by coming up with your own traditions.
Turning Point with David Jeremiah. Don't miss it on our sister station, KNKT, weekdays at 11 a.m. on 107.1 FM.
Hi, I'm Todd Nettleton, and this is the Voice of the Martyrs Radio. Azerbaijan literally translates to land of flame, but this shining name belies the rampant darkness and corruption of this oil-rich Central Asian state. Christians there are an extreme minority, comprising less than 1% of the nation's population. All religions register with the government, yet Christian churches have found it difficult to receive legal recognition. Many churches are quickly shut down, and members are threatened with imprisonment. Join me in praying for the faithful community of believers in Azerbaijan that the small flame of the gospel will not be snuffed out, but grow and shine into even the darkest corners.
I will not let my brothers and sisters suffer in silence, nor will I let them serve alone. To join me in prayer for persecuted Christians, go to vomradio.net.
This is KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Star 88, New Mexico's fresh alternative.
I'm captivated, I say it, I'm on a whole new retreat. My space invaded, upgraded, I hear you talking to me. It's in the boom of the thunder, it's in the cool of the rain. And I'll say, I don't ever wanna get away. Tonight is beautiful, it's got my mind on you. And everywhere I turn is a reminder. I see you in everything, all day. And every beat of my heart keeps reminding me. I see you in every little thing, all day. No matter where I go, I know your love is finding me. I see you in everything. You're all up in everything. My soul's awakened, I'm taken by all the beauty you bring. You got it blaring, I'm staring, love watching you do your thing. There's no mistaking your style, no mistaking your touch. I see the grand, I see the subtle of your love. Lord, I see you in everything, all day. And every beat of my heart keeps reminding me. I see you in every little thing, all day. No matter where I go, I know your love is finding me. It's finding me in everything, all day. And every beat of my heart keeps reminding me. I see you in every little thing, all day. No matter where in every little thing all day, all day. No matter where I go, I know your love is finding me. I see you in everything. You're all up in everything. I see you in everything. You're all up in everything. Oh, I can see your love in everything. And that's why you'll always be my everything. Yeah, I can see your love in everything. And that's why you'll always be my everything.
The Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O on Star 88.
Guys, they're talking soccer right now. Soccer. They're talking soccer. Huh?
We are talking soccer.
Brits,
New Mexico United.
Brit's comment made me laugh out loud. Sometimes I make up commentary to their conversations. LOL.
You have no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea what we're talking about.
about.
We're talking about soccer, guys. United. New Mexico United. And where they're going to sit. I'm so excited. Brian Nixon, everybody. It's 3 degrees. Good
Hey,
morning.
guys. Good morning.
my
Good
gosh.
morning. Well, we've got
Just
a...
kidding. Britt actually nailed it. She just texted.
Yeah?
What'd she say?
Did she say
Nothing.
you're talking soccer?
New Mexico United?
Yeah, that's what we're talking.
It's true. We were.
And where your sister lives.
And where
Close-
my sister
close
lives.
to this thing that I love.
Close to Brooklyn. She lives in Brooklyn.
she lives
my
in
sister.
Brooklyn.
My sister teaches at New York University and is an archivist for Broadway.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
So she teaches people how to archive Broadway things.
That's very cool.
Ish. You know, stage type stuff.
Very cool. Very cool.
So it is cool. But that's not what we're here to talk about, guys. We're here to talk about events that happened on October 18th in history. And we're going to cover some, and we're going to cover some birthdays, and then we're going to have Steve-O read something a little out of the ordinary. It's not a poem, but it has something to do with what I'm going to be talking about today.
Perfect. I got to focus. I'm
Yeah.
sitting down. I'm getting ready.
Focus.
We're doing this.
So you guys ready?
Beautiful.
So today is October 18th. You guys knew that. So on this day,
I was married 16 years ago.
is today your anniversary?
On
It
this
is.
day?
Steve-O,
Sorry, go ahead.
happy anniversary.
On this day, 16 years ago, my wife
Wow.
made the biggest mistake of her life.
That's very true.
And she's regretted it ever since, you idiot.
I can relate to her so well. I
she
can
is
relate to her
so
so
dumb.
well.
Fooled you!
Text me
Oh.
anytime, Christy.
And I've been trying to make up for it ever since.
Yeah. Oh my.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's probably the most important thing
Yes, the most,
on
and-
this list.
And the most accurate thing I've ever said about our marriage. So,
Okay, you ready?
yeah.
1099.
Oof.
The Church of Holy Sepulchre
Whoa.
was destroyed
By Unicron.
by
Yeah.
Fatim, the Muslims who came into Jerusalem and they sacked the church. They
Whoa.
destroyed it. So
Is that where the term sack comes from in football?
yeah,
Because the
exactly.
Muslims killed Christians, and they were like, dude, when the defense comes through the line and takes down the quarterback, we call it a sack. Much like when the Muslims took down the Christians in 1099.
I don't think that's where
No.
it came from.
No.
I think it's more of
Are you
like an actual
sure?
sack that you put over somebody.
Oh, that's called kidnapping.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
or
That's-
sacking them.
No,
You know,
yeah.
or they used
Wow.
to run
When you
around
get-
and like
sometimes
capture
when you get
little
fired, some people say, I got sacked from my job.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, where did that
It's
term come
Irish,
from?
and it came from catching leprechauns.
You're really smart. Where did sacked come from? Is that really it?
I
kinda
don't know,
think
but
that
we
might
should
be
we should
true.
look it up.
All right.
We
Okay,
should
you
we
guys-
should
you
we
go.
should
Oh,
have
no,
some people
yeah.
You
look
Google
up
it. Giggle it, giggle.
the historicity of
Yeah,
the
you
term
go
sack.
on 1099.
But let me ask you, what is the Church of Holy Sepulchre known for? Why is it an important
the
Christian
Holy
place?
Grail, of course.
Well, that too.
Well, close.
No, it's because the Holy Sepulchre refers to the sword of truth, right? We've got the armor of God, and that's where the actual physical sword of truth is held. It looks like a Bible, but if you put both thumbprints boop, boop, on the top of it, it like transforms into this giant flaming sword that they used to fight off the Muslims in
Right.
1099.
And they got the power from the Shroud of Turin.
Yes, and but when you hold it, you stand up and like lightning hits it, and then
Yes.
you scream, "I have the power!"
Yeah.
and it like makes it longer.
But you have to have the Ark of the Covenant within at least 10 feet of
Yeah.
Hey,
we
kids,
close?
Yeah.
everything that you just heard,
Is a lie.
ignore.
Oh, okay.
Just ignore. The Church of Holy Sepulchre, guys, is important because it's supposedly the church that they built over the place where Jesus was crucified.
Oh, gotcha.
Why don't
Yeah.
they just call it Golgotha?
Well, because that
like Skull Church.
they built the church
In
on the
Montana.
traditional site where Jesus was crucified. So when the Muslims came, they wanted to attack a place that really hit at the heart of the Christian faith. But that's what happened in 1099. So the Church of Holy Sepulchre was destroyed. Of course, it was rebuilt. Here's another interesting church history fact.
Okay.
The Spanish conquistador Hernando de Soto's forces destroyed the fortified town of Mabilia. Okay, where is that, guys?
Mexico.
Spain.
Oh.
Nope.
New Zealand.
Mabilia.
Nope.
Antarctica.
No.
Alabama.
That's exactly right. Alabama.
Nailed it.
Alabama. And that always throws people off because we're so accustomed to thinking.
Wait. Did I really nail it?
Yeah, Alabama.
It's in Alabama.
Yeah. Yep, it's in Alabama. Steve was just throwing out like the worst state like he could think of. Alabama, and he got it.
Like, how is that even possible?
But see, that's what people don't realize.
Alabama?
They always go and say, well, most of the damage that the conquistadors did was down in Mexico. They also attacked cities.
Alabama?
Yeah, in Alabama.
Get out of here.
They killed a native
Dude,
leader.
I never know when you're being serious
No,
or just
it's true.
like
He's about ready to say I'm just joking.
I seriously was
He's gonna
like,
call you an idiot
you were
any
like,
second. now.
That's
Alabama.
absolutely right. And I'm like, you're too calm.
They
Are you
killed the
mocking
leader,
me?
Tuscaloosa. So
Wait, that's where Tuscaloosa, Alabama comes from?
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
So
You're welcome, America.
yeah.
I know
That's
so many
true.
things.
So the conquistadors not only did some pretty big damage in Mexico, they did it in the South. Alabama. It's true. On this day, Soto
I gotta
attacked
leave
Alabama.
Now. I gotta leave on a high note, man. I can't
Go
do the
buy
rest of
Mega
the
Millions
show.
Powerball ticket.
Seriously.
All right. On this day, you guys ready? On
Ready.
this day in 1851, this book by Herman Melville was published.
The dictionary.
Herman Melville, bro.
Herman.
We talked
It's got
about
a
this.
giant fish.
Yeah, bro.
Come on, Dex. We're giving you this one.
It's
about a
giant
whale.
fish.
About a whale.
Moby Dick.
That's right.
Yeah, dude.
But here's the thing. It was first published in London. And what was it called in London, in
It
England?
was called The Giant Whale.
That's exactly right. The whale.
You're
the whale.
Such a, man, we're on it today, right there.
You guys
Guessing
are on it.
for the win.
Yeah, and you're maybe that's what you guys should have done in school.
Just start guessing more.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is how I did in school. I got like a 70 across the board.
I circled C's all the way down.
Yeah, that's
Just
the way
C,
you
C,
do
C,
it,
C, C.
man.
Okay.
Oh, and that was my average.
The last two guys I picked these specifically because we're doing radio.
Yeah.
And this is radio history. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
On this day in 1922, so October 18th, 1922, this corporation was founded
Walmart
to establish a commonality of radio transmitters in England.
Oh, the
in
FCC.
England, the BBC.
That's exactly
Darn
right.
it.
BBC.
That's what I
BBC
said.
was founded. Still, I would argue the best news service in the world.
You would argue.
I would argue that.
Yeah.
So BBC, guys, was founded on this day, incorporated as a consortium. Okay, and so little radio, and then here's a little bit more radio. In 1954, Texas Instruments announced
The calculator.
close, a little bit before the calculator.
Okay, well,
Little
Texas
bit before
Instruments
the
is
calculator.
always
And-
the calculator.
And
Sorry,
they
go ahead.
invented this, and
They
they
invented this.
and then they announced that it's coming out, and then it became every family had one.
A Rubik's Cube.
A radio.
That's right, a transmitter radio. I said, guys, the last two were about radio.
Sorry, I was looking at my computer over here. I was trying to find a button.
I even like cued you guys. So
I'm busy over here.
the transmitter radio was announced on this day in 1954.
That's pretty cool.
Do you guys know what a transmitter radio is?
Yeah, it transmits the radio frequencies all over the air.
No, it's like a receiver where.
Yeah, it's like a little portable radio.
Yeah.
There you go.
I miss those.
Okay.
All right, so those were the events.
Man,
you guys,
I crushed that.
yeah, you did pretty good. Here's your birthdays
you.
now.
Yeah.
This day in 1405, October 18th, Pope Pius II was born. What is Pope Pius II known for?
The school off of Coors.
No, that's Pope Pius X. This is the second.
Oh, that's why it's the X?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Learn something new every day.
This is Pope Pius II.
Wait, that's really why the school thing is an X?
X, yeah,
because
the 10th.
it's St. Pius X?
10th, yeah. It's
Did
named
he go
after
to
a different
school
guy. No, they're just named after Pope Pius X.
Oh.
He allowed
Great
smoking
school
in
by
restaurants.
What a ruse.
No.
Oh.
Okay, this is pretty interesting. Pope Pius II, who was born on this day in 1405, was still the only pope that wrote an autobiography.
Oh.
Wow. Still?
He was so pious.
He wrote one called Commentaries. Now, you could argue that, well, it wasn't the first autobiography, of course, Augustine's Confessions, but Augustine wasn't the pope. So Pope Pius II...
What about Paul? He wrote like 2/3 of the New Testament. That's kind of an autobiography,
He was
right?
never the pope.
But he's basically the pope. He like founded the church over there.
Well, he helped start a lot of churches. That's correct. But here's another interesting thing about Pope Pius II. He was an early... well, how would I say this? Because he was against slavery in some of its forms. It is. So he was one of the first Christian leaders of the era to speak out against slavery. What he spoke out specifically is saying, if you are a Christian and you have a slave who's a Christian, you need to free him.
Wow.
So it was interesting. So he wasn't against full-blown slavery, but at least he got the ball rolling. So that's pretty interesting there. Okay, cool. Here's another interesting one. On this day in 1517, Manuel da Nogueira was born, and he was a missionary to Brazil. He was a missionary to Brazil. And he, like Pope Pius II, was one of the first to speak out against this. What was it?
Chicanos.
No.
What? It's like fake Brazilian food.
No.
Yeah.
It's
ruining everything in Brazil because then Americans think that's what it's like in Brazil and they go to Brazil and it's not like that at all.
Nobrega didn't speak out against Chicanos.
Okay.
He was a Portuguese guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
He had Latin blood in him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
wasn't going to speak out against his own, bloodline.
That's why he was all for freedom of speech.
No, Nobrega was one of the first, and again, to speak out against the massacre of Native Americans.
Oh.
In this case, of course, down in
Mayans.
Brazil. Yeah, so he basically said, hey, colonists, you can't go start killing our native friends. So Nobrega was one of the early advocates, a Portuguese guy, early advocates of saying, hey, we need to be nice to all people we meet.
So the last guy was slave lives matter, and this guy is native lives matter.
That's exactly right.
Boom! I'm helping us think about it
That's
culturally,
exactly.
relevantly in 2018.
You know,
They started the pound sign.
Hey, isn't it interesting?
You are so woke.
You know what's interesting is I'm so glad that the Native American discussion has hit big time in the news, correct?
Yeah.
man.
With the whole, what's her name?
Elizabeth Warren
Elizabeth
being
Warren.
1/27 millionth
Of it,
Cherokee.
yeah. And everyone's saying, hey, bro, you can't count that as being Native American.
Yeah.
So I'm glad there is some discussion happening with our Native brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So here's another interesting thing that has direct influence on America. On this day in 1596, Edward Winslow was born. Who was Edward Winslow?
He was the dad on
Family Matters.
Boom!
No.
Oh.
Kids, here's a lesson for
Love
you.
the Winslows.
The lesson is not everything Dex or Steve-O says is true.
Sometimes.
But
So-
not everything we say is false.
That's correct. So
Yeah.
always
Good luck.
look to mom or dad when you're
Wrong.
driving in the car.
Yeah.
Look to
Yeah.
mom and dad and say, Mom, Dad, are they telling the truth? Most likely mom and dad will say, no, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, they weren't telling the truth. No, so Edward Winslow was not, what'd you say, the family guy?
Family Matters. He was
Fa-
the dad.
Family
Come on,
Matters.
Urkel.
Yeah, black
Okay.
family in Chicago. Come on, man.
All right. No, he was an American Pilgrim leader. He was separatist, and he sailed on the Mayflower. Not only that guys, he was the governor of Plymouth 3 times, 1633, 1639, and 1644. Not only that, guys, he wrote several works describing life in the USA and what Steve-O's going to be reading here in a second.
Oh.
So that's your cue, Dex, to get something going that's very early American madrigals or something
in
of that
early
nature.
American, we still had accents, so I got to go
it's
British.
he was definitely British. He was born in Britain. So it's through Edward Winslow that we get our first record of what some consider the first Thanksgiving. So instead of reading a poem today, Steve-O is going to read an excerpt from Edward Winslow's diary where he describes what it was like harvesting and living with the Native Americans during that time. So this is an actual letter that Winslow wrote talking about Thanksgiving.
Be careful with it, man. It's very old.
Edward Winslow, December 1621. Could you turn the fiddle down a little bit, please, in my left monitor? Thank you. Thank you.
What'd you say, homeboy?
Our harvest began gotten in. Our governor sent 4 men on fowling, that so we might after a special manner rejoice together. After we had gathered the fruits of our labor, they 4 in one day killed as much fowl as with a little help besides served the company almost a week, at which time amongst other recreations we exercised our arms. Many of the Indians coming amongst us, and amongst the rest of their greatest king, Massasoit, with some 90 men, whom for 3 days we entertained and feasted. They went out and killed 5 deer, which they brought to the plantation and bestowed on our governor, and upon the captain and others. And although it be not always so plentiful, as it was at this time with us, yet by the goodness of God we are so far from want, that we often wish you partakers of our plenty. My most joyous moment came when one Indian brought forth the goodness known as cranberry sauce. It jiggled around like a fat man, and I ate it aplenty. It reminded me of Jell-O, which was slung by that one dude, Bill Cosby. We didn't see much of him later in the day. Okay,
He made up that whole last part, kids. Kids, that whole last part was made up.
No. No.
Yeah, I don't think they had cranberry sauce on the first Thanksgiving.
It jiggled like
But
a fatty.
It's still the best part of Thanksgiving. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Don't give me that, like, for real stuff where there's, like, actual cranberries in it, and it's like, no, this one's got orange bits. I just want, like, the sludge that comes out of the can. 7 slices of that.
I love cranberry sauce.
I love.
But isn't it
fake
interesting
cranberry sauce.
that Edward Winslow, really we get our understanding of the first Thanksgivings from him?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So cool.
So, and we're kind of coming up.
Year.
Yeah, we're kind of coming up to Thanksgiving. So
Yes.
we have Edward Winslow and the Native Americans he mentions in it to thank for establishing this marvelous holiday.
By the way, I want to say that when I said the term Indian, it's because that's the term that was used in 1621. So
yes,
nowadays it's not very correct politically speaking to say the term Indian.
Yes, it's our Native Americans, First
Edward
Nations.
Winslow in 1621 used the term because they were misinformed,
That's
courtesy
right.
of our own Christopher Columbus, who thought he landed in India, thus Indians. Yet
That's
we were
exactly
not
right.
in India, we were in America.
That's right,
Actually,
Steve-O.
we weren't in America yet. It was 1621, and America wasn't founded until... Okay.
So, kids, Steve-O just gave you some real stuff.
Yeah,
so
real
almost,
history lesson, guys.
So almost everything we know about Thanksgiving is based on, some of his letters. So Edward Winslow's an important character, at least for the East Coast of the United States. Of course, Native Americans are going, bro, we were here a lot earlier than that guy. But you get it.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So that was 1596. He was born. On this day in 1926, you guys ready for this?
Ready.
Yes.
Chuck Berry was born.
No kidding.
So
Dude.
who's Chuck Berry?
Chuck Berry needs more credit. Chuck Berry
Go ahead,
is
Steve-O.
the man, along with, I would say, Elvis Presley, and even before him, really, really kicked off rock and roll.
That's right.
Now, we can look to those mop heads across the pond and say that they did some things, but they did not do anything compared to Chuck Berry and my boy Elvis. So, step aside, British dudes. This guy's got to play the guitar.
Oh, Steve-O threw down.
Step aside, Brit!
Hey, Dex, did you want to say anything about our boy Chuck Berry?
I want to give a shout out to Marty McFly because
Yes.
we wouldn't have
That's
Back
true.
to the Future without Chuck Berry.
That's
so
true.
Shout out
and his cousin
to Mr. Berry.
Marvin Berry, who helped create the song.
That's so true, man. Without going back to the future,
Johnny be good.
things would have been a little bit different.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And you know what?
I'm not even joking.
We
I'm
wouldn't have,
passionate
we
about
wouldn't
it.
have
I know.
Hendrix. We wouldn't have Jimi Hendrix.
That's
we,
right.
We wouldn't have
I agree.
Van Halen. We wouldn't have Santana. Well, maybe we would have Santana. I mean, think about it. All the greats.
Without Chuck Berry. That's
Our
right.
girl Winnie over in London, England, listening to us right now, says, "Hey, who are you calling mop heads? Not you, just talking about the Beatles, those guys over there that everybody believes like kick-started rock and roll and good music. There was way gooder music happening before they were around."
Yes.
Chuck
Berry,
bro.
born on this day. Happy birthday, Chuck! Even though you're no longer with us.
Oh man,
we miss Chuck.
Yeah.
He was truly.
Dude, he was a pioneer.
He was a pioneer. That's exactly right. All right. On this day in 1927, this actor and director, George C. Scott, was born.
Ooh.
Name one movie he directed.
Go ahead, Steve-O. This is your field.
Patton.
That's exactly right.
Ooh,
Patton.
good movie. Starring
Patton. That's exactly right.
Starring what's his face from
Okay.
Braveheart.
All right.
No,
golly.
no, gosh.
Oh,
Can he?
what?
All right. Okay.
Oh,
John
by the
Wayne?
way, Winnie's in Geneva at the moment. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice.
I know.
That's cool.
We're so glad you're listening
I
from
know,
Europe.
I love you, Winnie.
And you know what? We're very thankful for our
Technology?
our European friends, because half of America
Yeah.
wouldn't be here if it wasn't for at least our government side of things.
Yeah.
Our Native American friends are saying, no, it was here and we were doing just fine
Right.
before the Europeans showed up.
Yeah.
But anyway, here we go. On this day, and this is going to be the controversial one. So everyone, you could start getting ready and type in, because it's so full of conspiracy theory.
Ooh, I like it.
Here we go. You guys ready? Because
Yeah.
this one may take a little bit longer than normal.
Okay.
That's why I shortened this day.
Okay.
Okay, on this day in 1939, Lee Harvey Oswald was born.
Ooh, nice.
The American assassination of John F. Kennedy. He was the assassin of John F. Kennedy. So here's the question, guys.
Mhm.
Was
We're gonna answer it today.
did he act alone?
Oh, gosh. You know what? Okay.
Okay, here we go. Did he
were
act
there.
alone?
We were
Dexter
there.
and I went there over the summer together.
Okay. I know. That's why I'm asking.
We
you
were
guys,
there.
You were there.
And we saw it, and in my personal opinion,
Yep.
there's no way, bro. There is
See,
no
and I am
way.
the complete opposite of what Steve-O just
You
said.
really think he
Yeah.
was able to nail that
Of course,
shot
that's
from
not even
that
a bad
window?
shot. Like that, I didn't understand.
Traveling down this
I
road.
grew up
See, folks,
shooting
I
rifles.
told you.
That's not it. That's not a hard
You
shot
grew
if
up
you're a marksman.
shooting rifles?
Yeah, dude.
I was a marksman in military school and in the Coast
So you should
Guard.
know. You
So
should
I
Folks,
know.
do
If you're a
know.
marksman,
I'm
that's
here
an
just to
easy shot,
moderate.
bro.
That
I'm just here to
angle,
moderate.
Dude.
Back into the
Trying
left.
to bring peace to the
Back
Not a
situation.
hard
into the
shot at
left.
all. Not a hard
Told
shot.
you it'd be
Back into the
controversial.
left.
Not a hard
Told you
shot.
it'd be controversial.
Not a hard shot.
And that was Dex and Steve-O fighting, because I knew that this would be a controversial thing because they went there.
Back then, you couldn't just scrub a Wikipedia page, so you had to hire a guy named Jack Ruby to go in there and take out the guy so he wouldn't speak. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
Come on, man. You assassinate the assassinator before he can say a word? I've watched television. There's
Obviously,
no way, bro.
there was some things going on behind the scenes
Oh, yeah,
that they
there
wanted
was.
to make sure that his mouth was
What
shut.
are some of
but-
our people saying? What are some of our peeps saying about did he act alone? You know how
let's
many
see.
TV shows have
Mark
been
says,
about this?
no, it was the mafia. Somebody said, Thebes thought it was landing on the studio moon. No, that was 1969.
Yes.
We'll
July
get there.
20th, 1969.
Somebody said, no, he definitely didn't do it. Also, somebody said chimichanga because Dex and Steve are about to get into a fight.
We're fine, guys. We're fine. We're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is cool that you guys were there. And what's fascinating to me, because we talked about this after you got back, is that you two have two completely polar opposite. Dex thinks, no, this can be done. Steve was saying, absolutely not. There's no way he could have shot JFK in a moving car from this window.
Yeah.
And that's why, 55 plus 60 years later, we're still arguing and there's still movies being made over this. It's such a controversial topic.
Yeah.
And then the whole idea is, how did he get access to Lee Harvey Oswald to shoot him? I mean, there's just a lot of unanswered questions.
Multiple people chiming in saying, come on, bro, he was trained by the Marine Corps, the greatest military branch in the world. He's taking that shot every time.
Thank you.
He was trained by.
Thank you.
He was.
He was a marksman.
He was.
A really good series to watch on Hulu is 11/22/63 with James Franco. It's about time travel.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's awesome.
J.J. Abrams. Yeah,
dude, it's so good.
It's made up, bro. That shouldn't give you the.
It could be real. You know what? You can't just say that. You don't know. Okay.
Also, Oliver Stone's JFK. No, I wouldn't. Yeah.
All right. Did we solve it?
No.
Oh, okay. We didn't solve it. Oh, man.
No, but here's the crazy thing. That happened in 1963, the same day that C.S. Lewis and Aldous Huxley died.
Yep.
And it's something that we're still talking about to this day.
That's right.
But what really matters to me about that day, seriously,
C.S. Lewis.
Is C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis died on that day, Aldous Huxley, and JFK. And there's actually a book about those three dying, because they died on the same day within hours. And they were, all three of them, very outspoken. Aldous Huxley was a humanist, really.
Right.
You know,
he was.
C.S. Lewis,
Christian.
a Christian. And JFK really stood for, what would you say, like...
Self?
Yeah. Well,
political. I mean, you know, truly, I mean, I don't want to second guess, but I think he wanted the best for the nation, the politics.
That's not
but
what
also,
you can,
he was aspirational.
Can do for
He
you.
wanted to be the president and so on and so forth.
And so you've got these three men with very different worldviews. And I think what matters is that three people died that day. And what was their destination after that? Like, that's what's important.
Yeah, that's really
like, seriously,
interesting
not to get too,
question.
like, deeply theological, but it's like
Themological.
That's the real question, and we know where C.S.
The real question is,
perhaps the answer will come someday soon, when the skies open up over another small community, and the blobs once again fall to earth.
That wasn't. I don't think there's a question.
Thank you, Robert.
But you know, speaking of C.S. Lewis, you know, I was talking with folks this past week about the profound influence that man had. He's probably the most influential Christian of the last 60, 75 years.
Yeah.
I mean, more people have attributed his books, his works, his life than almost anyone. So
should we talk about his mysticism and his thoughts on heaven? No.
Yeah, no, but Steve-O, you're right. I mean, on JFK's death, you know, the church lost, a stalwart. But anyway, we're not finished, guys.
No.
So Lee Harvey Oswald, born on this day in 1939. Also born on this day in 1961, American trumpeter, composer, educator, was on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We all know him.
King Daniel.
Happy birthday, Wynton Marsalis.
Oh, Wynton Marsalis.
Go ahead, hit us,
Wynton
Dex.
Marsalis.
well, that's not one you emailed to me.
Yeah,
it is. That's that
you
guy
had
right
it.
there.
You had it on.
The guy that
I was looking at the first.
Yeah, you had it on. I'm looking right at it.
Thank you.
Trumpet away, man.
Wynton Marsalis.
Oh, this
folks.
is actually nice.
Yeah, it is.
If there's one thing I love,
is accordion.
Well, no. I mean, it's my wedding anniversary, so bragging on my wife. I love when it's dinner time. And we always have different music on in the background.
Right.
But some of my favorite nights are when we're both like helping each other get dinner ready, and one's like chopping veggies, and I'm like grilling or doing
like
something.
The perfect family.
And she's pouring, water. And we're hanging out, and jazz is on in the background. Because my kids get to hear like good music.
Yep.
She loves.
I love jazz.
She loves great music, and yes, I love jazz.
I love jazz. And Wynton Marsalis, of course, this is accordion player here, but Wynton Marsalis is one of the great living trumpet players. He is a national treasure. He's an institution, and he really crosses the genres because we consider him a jazz trumpet player, but what people don't realize is some of his best-selling albums are classical, his classical trumpet works. So he is an amazing musician, and Wynton Marsalis, happy birthday. Okay.
What movie is that from? Come on, guys. What movie is that from?
Is it from a movie?
La Vie en Rose, yeah.
Oh, what is it from? Stevie, you know that you're the movie guy.
It's in a few movies, but I thought of two right away.
What was it?
Wall-E and You've Got Mail.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Pretty amazing movies.
There you go. Okay. This day, 1984, getting a little closer to our time. This famous famous jazz bassist. She was born. She's also a singer. She, too, was on PBS, and she is a tremendous talent herself. Happy birthday, Esperanza Spalding. Now, I saw Esperanza Spalding, and she really is a talent.
Really?
Yeah, she's just, I've seen her in concert, and she's just, wow. Great bass player, great vocalist, well worth seeing.
How old is she?
I don't know. She's probably, well, she's born 84, so what is that? 84, 94,
yeah,
2004.
you know,
So 30?
A little bit younger than me.
Yeah, something like that. All right, last one. Thanks for setting those up, Dax. Thank you. On this day, in 1987, this American actor and singer was born. Happy birthday, Zac Efron.
Oh, that's cool.
Who is he?
Why didn't you email me that one?
Who's Zac Efron?
He's in One Direction, dude. Oh,
I-
no, wait.
No, he's
No,
not,
he's in the new
you
Baywatch
dummy.
with The Rock. That's right.
So here's the thing. I didn't know who Zac Efron was. But I go, hey.
He's in High School Musical.
Some of our younger kids may know who this guy is.
Some of our younger kids.
The younger listening guys, they may know who Zac Efron is. And I didn't, because they said he's a singer. I'm like, is he a pop singer? What does he do? So who, you guys school me on who Zac Efron is.
He's
he
in
was
High
part
School
of
Musical.
like that High School Musical cast.
Okay, what was that again?
It was just like this Disney thing. That
It was filmed here.
I never
Right.
watched it.
Right.
High School Musical guy who now like he's actually become kind of funny, right? He was in The Greatest Showman.
Yep.
He was.
Right.
He was in Baywatch.
He's a very good-looking young man.
Sure.
Isn't he the guy that sort of looks like John Stamos?
Yes.
Yes.
He totally does.
Yeah.
And they're probably the same height.
Probably
I
his
saw John
child.
Stamos at Disneyland, and I was very sad.
Like, because what is
He's
his?
like 5'5".
Yeah, like
5'6", maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, dude, that's like Tom Cruise height.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
So Zac Efron was born on this day, guys, 1987.
I can't find any music.
That was the year I graduated from high school.
Wow.
Yep.
You
All right, here we go. Before we move to our theological topic,
Yeah.
here we go. Who said that? Music, please.
Music.
Who said that? Who said that?
Gosh.
Here we go.
Good music.
Remember, these all correlate to people we discussed on this day. And heaven have mercy on us all,
C.S. Lewis.
Presbyterians and pagans alike, for we all somehow dreadfully cracked about the head and sadly need mending.
The guy that I read the poem about, the first American.
Yeah.
What's his name?
No.
Edward Norton.
Not Edward Winslow.
That guy.
This
No?
is the guy that wrote a book about a big fish.
Oh,
yeah,
Herman
that's
Melville.
right.
Herman Melville. That's exactly right. So he said that. Here's another one. You can grow up with literally nothing, and you don't suffer if you know you're loved and valued.
Oh, dude, clearly Lee Harvey Oswald.
Zac Efron, bro.
No.
Who is that?
Esperanza Spalding.
Oh,
I knew it.
dude.
I knew
Isn't
it.
that cool?
Yeah.
Listen to that again. You can grow up with literally nothing, and you don't have to suffer if you know you're loved and valued.
That's so cool.
Esperanza Spalding. Okay, here we go. This is a great one.
Okay.
Don't settle for style.
Zac
Succeed
Efron.
succeed in substance.
No, dude, clearly
Don't
it's
settle for style. Succeed in substance.
Pope Pius II.
No.
He had
Chuck
no
Berry.
style. He coined that weird white robe thing.
No.
No.
Marcellus.
That's right. Wynton Marsalis.
Wow.
Wynton Marsalis.
you,
Don't
Jazz.
settle for style. Succeed in substance. That is so good.
Did they name the thing at the Marcella, the chicken
Marcello's
dish?
Shop?
You know, you could get it at an Italian restaurant. Never mind.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm trying to be
Okay,
funny. It's
and our
veiled.
last from Who Said That? Our last for 3 degrees. Here it is.
Okay.
Great advice comes from people that have been around a lot
Zac
longer than
Efron.
you. That's exactly right. Zac Efron.
You just kept saying Zac Efron
No,
every
I did.
time.
Great advice comes from people that have been around a lot longer than you. Zac Efron.
Wow, man, that's pretty cool.
So there you have it, guys. 3 degrees. Everything from the destruction of the Church of Holy Sepulchre to conquistadors to Herman Melville's Moby Dick. BBC was founded on this day, and we got our first radio transmitter.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
It's a good day.
Yeah.
All right.
And Chuck Berry, happy birthday.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Wynton Marsalis. Esperanza Spalding.
Man, think about that, guys. So seriously, because one of the more famous trumpeter, jazz musicians, as well as one of the greatest guitarists in the history of all time.
Born on the same day. That's right. Two American treasures.
My son was almost born on this day. I'm glad he was not. We had a 2-day-old on our first wedding anniversary.
Well,
So-
Steve, and the most important, it's your wedding
It
anniversary.
is 16 years, man.
That's cool, man.
All right, but we're switching gears now because you guys want me to weigh in on the state of homelessness. Because
how do we fix it?
James McDonald.
Let me hold on. Let me give
did
out the
something.
phone number and the live
Here we
line
go.
and
Okay.
everything. So people, you guys chime in, be a part of the show. 505-338-3700. We're also live on Facebook and YouTube at Star 88 FM, and you can text into the live line. What's that number?
And of course, people could always write us a letter.
That's
Oh,
true.
dang it. We have 2.
We have 2 letters. We'll get them, Steve-O.
We have 2 letters? I had no idea.
2 letters. So what's the how do they type? What is that? What's our address?
Hold on, I
Dex?
need to finish my letter real quick. 4001 Osuna Road, Northeast, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87109.
Now remember, folks, you either have to handwrite it or type it out. We don't want this computer-generated stuff. Hey, by the way, the next type out is November 4th at Pennywise. I think you guys should have the guy that's putting this on, on the radio.
I don't know. That sounds a little boring.
Hey, guys, typewriters are not boring. Steve-O has stuff. So people are writing us letters. Steve-O just came as dropping them all over the place.
I feel like you should do
So
that
before we get to the homeless thing,
sorry, my
Steve-O's got to get to our letters because we got mail. We got mail. And you type.
It says, let's talk about it.
Oh,
right.
nice.
So lame.
Okay, here we go. Steve-O, read us our letters.
TMI. Good day! Hope you are doing well and enjoying life. I get a free sheet of pictures from the school I teach at, so I sent them out to people because I am weird. Praying for you all, Anika.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Let me see.
She sent a photo.
Is this Anika? Is this the teacher? Yeah.
I mean, I guess so.
Anika, this is awesome.
That's awesome.
Now, did she handwrite it or she type it?
She handwrote it.
Very nice.
From Rehoboth.
We can't accept that if it's
From
handwritten.
Rehoboth, New Mexico.
So that means we're going to type on my Electra 120 typewriter. You're getting a letter from us.
And you get a letter. And you get a letter.
And mind you, when you get a letter from us,
I'm just
that
dropping
means Dex and Steve actually typed it out.
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
not someone else. That's not like a secretary. That's them sitting down and typing it out.
It's so long, too.
So if you want a letter, 4001 Osuna Road, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87109, we will type a letter to you.
Here we go.
Okay, here's our next letter.
This comes from Natasha, who is the Brady Bunch promo creator. Well, that's cool.
Cool.
Is she really?
Remember, we do a little here's a story of a man named Dex. Yeah. Well, this is her.
Oh, that's awesome.
She sang us a song one time, and we used it as a promo. Your show? What can I say? You guys wake me up every single morning. You speak to us like we're right there with you. I feel a part of something special and want to thank you for it. I follow Dex over from The Edge. He's a good person, that Dex.
I don't know about that.
Years ago, when I listened to The Edge, I reached out to him for advice, and he took time to send me a lengthy email.
Was she a part of Cheaters Hotel?
Never give up. God doesn't fail, is what he told me. You spent a lengthy email, and she summed it up in one sentence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, God never fails. Good. That's good advice.
I didn't
Dex.
give up, and my marriage has been restored.
Awesome.
See?
Yeah.
God used an idiot like me.
Oh, just wait.
Oh.
With that said, I'd like to return the advice back to Dex.
Here's a story of a man named Dex who had a very famous edgy morning show. Then one day, this Dexter lost his job.
Yeah, bring that up again.
He was all alone. Till one day when this Dexter met this fellow, and they knew that Steve-O was the one.
I don't know.
And this duo would somehow form a show. The morning invasion became their show.
Get out of
here. Oh, man. Okay.
It's awesome.
Teaming
Awesome.
up with Steve-O, you guys have created something so very special. The Starmy, a community. I sit here in my Morning Invasion t-shirt and can secretly smile knowing I'm a part of this great community. You entertain. You educate, Phoenix.
There it is.
You comfort. You reach out. You listen and help so many people. Whenever either of you is out of the studio for a time, it's not the same. You have amazing chemistry together, and because of that, I believe God brought you together. Your show is blessed, and God will take care of your homes, your family, and you. Continue your hard work, be strong, and be blessed. Star Me for Life, Natasha, and she included a John Cena Never Give Up sticker.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Natasha, that is so awesome. So beautiful. Beautifully written.
Beautiful.
There you go.
That means you're going to get a typewritten letter back from these guys.
Yeah, man.
Here, you know what?
She's from Farmington, by the way.
Yeah,
Both letters came from out of town.
Let me just say something that's cool here, guys.
Yeah.
And I say this in all sincerity, even though I ribbed you, Monday morning.
Ribbed.
So I showed up to Paul Short's house, Kimberly and Paul Short.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that this community of people got together who all were listeners to the Morning Invasion.
Cool.
And
Cool.
it is cool. So I walk in there and I said, well, Paul, how did you meet? And his name was Seth, and I met some other people. I said, how did you meet Seth? He goes, well, I didn't. I go, you met him through church, right? He goes, no. He goes, we were all listeners to the Morning Invasion, and then we realized we're always chiming in on a regular basis. So one of the guys decided, hey, this is kind of like the crew of people that listen to the radio. Why don't we get together and just get to know one another? And they've been meeting on a fairly regular basis.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
I wish I was invited to these things.
Yeah, you are.
Well,
pretty
you were.
cool.
You
I think they stopped inviting us.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't on the group text.
You weren't on the group text, but he was talking to you like you were. So Paul had good intentions.
I know he did.
Dex.
I know.
But I showed up and I go, these are some really nice people. And then you read a letter like from Natasha. It's like, man.
That's so cool, right?
Bless your guys'
Isn't that
hearts.
cool?
It is cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Great listeners. Thank you for those
Best.
letters.
The
We
best
will start typing letters to you back.
This one's for you, Starmy.
Next message.
TMI.
Woo!
TMI. It's Dex and Steve-O. TMI.
Deleted.
That's good.
How would people write us letters though, Dex? Well, what do they do to send us a letter?
4001 Osuna, Osuna Road Northeast, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
87109.
And if you don't know how to spell Albuquerque, if you put ABQNM,
It's
it totally
acceptable.
works.
Yeah, totally acceptable. ABQNM.
ABQ.
Particularly
comma,
from the
and
listeners. Here's the thing. Here, let's even up the ante.
Yeah.
If we get a letter from our European listeners,
Oh.
we're
Cost you $43 in postage.
it's probably going to cost her like £4 or something to send it.
Wow.
But we've got to do something special, and we may even dedicate like a lot more time to reading
Wow.
it.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I love that.
So the European,
We'll act it out.
the
As
European
British people.
exactly.
Yeah.
European listeners, if you write us a letter, something good will happen.
I
Yeah,
like that.
I like it.
So we just
Something
up the
good.
ante.
Okay.
All
Something
right.
good will happen.
All right. So now let's go to this topic of James
Charity.
McDonald.
Yeah.
Okay. Hit me.
Here's the crazy thing. We talked about this in the 6 o'clock hour. Mega church pastor in Chicago. He wanted to see how his congregation would react to a homeless person hanging out on the church campus. So he put on this crazy costume, ratty wig, and a big old beard and a beanie, and you really can't tell it's him at all. And sat outside and kind of pulled off this experiment to see how his church was doing. And of course, not everybody agreed with the method, but the point was, let's see how compassionate we are. Let's see how we're doing as far as helping those that maybe we consider less than, that we don't necessarily want to have to reach out to. And it was interesting. It was pretty divided, 50-50, people helping or praying for him or asking him if he wanted to come to service, asking him if he needed food, as well as people kind of shunning him and walking around him or going in another door or putting their Bible up to kind of like walk by without having to look at him. Which I guess really how it is in the church.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of people
Yeah,
say they
because
are,
people are human,
Yeah.
and we all have preconceived ideas and notions of homelessness, and so people reacted that way.
Yeah.
Well, let me just start off by, I applaud James McDonald for doing something like this. I think what he wants to do is bring awareness to not only I'm sure the congregants' hearts, where do you stand in relationship to the least fortunate, those who are oppressed and such. So I applaud him for it. It's been done before. Other people have dressed up like homelessness and such, but that's beside the point. I think what he was trying to do is give a living lesson to his congregation as to how they treat the homeless.
Yeah.
And I think the notion and the topic of homelessness is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus himself, even referenced homeless. The homeless you will have with you always,
Yeah.
but the Son of Man won't be here ever. So homelessness has been with us forever. People have lived without a home for a long time.
Yeah.
And it is a crisis in most major cities around the world. And the solutions people offer are very different. I know here in Albuquerque, Joy Junction does a fabulous job. As a matter of fact, they have their new buildings are being dedicated this Friday. Joy Junction, Mayor Tim Keller will be there.
Yeah, man.
Other people will be there celebrating these new additional apartments. And so things like that we need to celebrate and get behind. I think the Christian community needs to say, hey, I may not be able to go out there and volunteer at a homeless shelter. I may not be able to do this, but I could give $10 to Joy Junction to help them take care of homelessness.
Exactly.
And, we miss people like Jeremy Reynolds, but his wife, Elma, has taken the reins of Joy Junction. And so I think the Christian community does need to be compassionate people for the least and the lost. And Steve-O, since we're talking about this, I think a very powerful book on this topic of justice and on working on behalf of the oppressed is Tim Keller's, Generous Justice. And I would encourage Christians to read that book because Tim Keller not only is thoroughly biblical and passionate about the Lord, but he also is looking at the full scope of what the Bible has to say about our role as Christians, helping the least and the lost, which include homeless.
Yeah.
So I would say pick up a book, read it, be inspired, volunteer, give money to the homeless shelters, and like James McDonald did, check your own heart. How is your heart connected to those people?
So let's talk about it, because I wish it were as easy as having a quick conversation and then people going, I'm going to give to everyone regardless because this is what I should do.
Right.
Because somebody has a great question. They said, I have a hard time giving to the street corner person. I work in an area where heroin is a huge problem, and I have to wake up to these people every morning off of our store doorsteps and put up with the needles of the people I see on these corners.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts.
No, go ahead, Brent.
I was going to say my thoughts are don't give the individuals money, because then what you're doing is you're helping them with their habit. What I would do and what I'm suggesting is that you would work with your local homeless shelter and give them the money so that they could go and try to get more outreach services and such.
Yeah.
Or what I've heard a lot of people do is they say, I never give money. I'll carry McDonald's gift cards,
Yeah.
or I bring an extra sandwich that day, and I will give them, instead of making one sandwich for myself, I make two, and when I see the guy, I say, here, I made you this. God bless you. So there are other ways to help and be compassionate without buying into their habits.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I said it this morning. It just, if you don't feel good about just giving money or even food to the person on the side of the road, give to the missions, the ministries out there. Without them, the city would look completely different.
Yep.
Right.
And I want to add to this, Pastor James McDonald, and he's not the first pastor to do this. I was reading an article back from 2013. This pastor in Clarksville, Tennessee. He was on the streets for 5 days, wanting to live it out, wanting to see what it was like to be homeless. His wife and kids were not super stoked he was doing this, but he really believed God had called him to really evaluate his city and his community, and lived homeless for 5 days.
There's been, by the way, a lot of pastors who's done this. It's not James McDonald. I mean, he's borrowed this from probably 20 different pastors.
So, but here's the thing, and I'm not calling you out. I'm calling myself out, because this is the way I read it and this is the way I'm perceiving it from you, because this is the way I am a lot of times when I see people on the streets. One thing that I think James McDonald was trying to drive home is the fact that God has the same grace, the same love, the same compassion, the same mercy for the person on the street, the person that is hardest for you to love, as he does for you. And maybe we need to bend our thinking, and maybe we need to transform our heart in a way that we have the same mercy and compassion and grace for the people we just don't even look at. Because one thing that, just the way it was written, was the idea of like, I have to wake up to these people, and I have to put up with the needles of these people, and I have to see these people on my doorstep. And it's like, we have categorized them as less than.
Yeah.
I have done that so many times.
Yeah.
Like I said in the 6 o'clock hour, I was in New York City. There are homeless people everywhere.
Right.
There are homeless people on the subway. There are homeless people at every stop. There are and everyone's asking for money, and it becomes a thing where everybody's walking fast, and you just kind of disassociate, and you don't even they're not even a human anymore.
Right.
And so every single person, including that heroin addict on your street corner, still has a story. How did they get there? What led them to that?
Yeah.
And why do we think of them
The research,
as less than?
the research shows there's 3 major categories how people got homeless. And why I know this, by the way, I worked for a homeless shelter in the Bay Area.
Nice.
So I worked for the Tri-City Homeless Shelter in the Bay Area. That was one of my first ministry jobs, if you will. I volunteered when I became, started to work for a church. I still volunteered for a homeless shelter in Central Valley, California, and I sit on Joy Junction's board here. So I have a deep love for homeless outreach. But statistics would say that most people, not most, but you could really break down homelessness into 3 large categories. One is people literally just are down and out on their luck. They lost their job. They were living paycheck to paycheck. And boom, they can't pay their rent. They are on the street. And believe it or not, those are great people who want to work, who want to be productive citizens. Homelessness is not always about drugs and such. There's a big swath of individuals who literally have just had some hard knocks. So that's one group. Another group are mental illness, people who are, bipolar, schizophrenia, and they too are dealing with a lot of health problems. And so they are wandering the streets because our system, if you will, has locked them out, shut them out of that. We just don't have the resources to fuel that. And then there is a smaller percentage of people who are addicted to drugs. So in that broad 3 categories, what I think what I hear you, Steve, was saying is that we just shouldn't judge automatically.
Right.
Just because you're standing there doesn't mean you're necessarily a drug addict. So maybe what James McDonald's doing is saying, hey, get to know this. Really what's happening. If you sense and you really feel maybe the Lord saying, this guy may seem all right. He's truly not an alcoholic or a heroin addict or something. Maybe, give him a McDonald's gift card, or next time you see him, make him lunch. Always, I think what we should be doing is recommending to people, hey, there are great homeless shelters in this area. Take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Go stay overnight. Register. Get back on your feet.
That's what I like about the city. Almost on every intersection, there's a sign that says, you need shelter?
Yeah.
311,
Right.
or, there's ways to, get these people
Because
help.
it's so easy for a homeless person to just pull out their cell phone and dial 311.
Yeah.
Last time I saw one, they did.
I'm just kidding.
Seriously.
I'm being snarky. I'm being snarky.
I make it a point when I walk by homeless folks,
text us.
I always greet them. I say, hello, how are you, sir? Everything going well? And you could usually pick up pretty quickly one of those 3 areas.
Yeah.
You could tell if they're out, drugged out, usually pretty quickly. If they're just down on their luck, if there's schizophrenia or another mental
Or
illness.
if this is just their livelihood and this is their job.
Yeah.
Because seriously.
Yeah, no, sure.
Somebody said, I actually know, I know how it is to be homeless. I slept on the streets when I was 15 years old. I found out if you really want to get out of a bad situation like that, you can. God can deliver anyone, but too many are just looking for an easy way out or an easy high. I still feel bad for the lost and try to help out every chance I can, but I've tried to avoid them, so I definitely know I need to be more like Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. Like some of them Some of them are down, like you're saying, the different categories. But we just generalize everything, and we just kind of put them in a box, and write it off because it's easier for us.
And as much as I appreciate that, and thank you for sharing that comment, and you're right, I think a lot of people can get out of it. But there are those with mental illness, particularly.
They're not taking their meds.
They don't have the meds. They don't have access to doctors.
And some of them don't want to be a part of society anymore.
So it's not as easy for people with illness to just get out of that situation.
And that's why the shelters are so important.
So important.
Because they are educated and they can handle those situations.
Right. So here's the bottom line. This Friday, pray for Joy Junction. Pray for the Albuquerque Rescue Mission. Pray for St. Martin's. Pray for all of these Christian organizations that are reaching out to our community and support them. You know, show up for the building launch at Joy Junction. Go down to St. Martin's, you know, and say, how can I help? How can I serve? What can I do to be a blessing to help the less fortunate in our community?
I love that.
Absolutely.
So good, man. So good. This was a great hour, guys. If you missed it, iTunes, we're on demand through the app. You can go back on Facebook and YouTube after 10. We upload the shows and get caught up, man. It was a great hour. Thank you, Brian Nixon, for 3 Degrees.
Thank you, guys.
And write us a letter, guys. Again, 4001 Osuna Road Northeast, Albuquerque, New Mexico. You guys send them in, and we'll type you a letter. We'll type a letter and send it back to you.
On a Smith Corona Electra 120 typewriter.
Oh, it's so
mid-century modern.
Yep. So great. So great.
Cheers,
you,
guys.
We'll see you. Hi, it's Dex. We want you to share your star story. How has Star 88 and the morning invasion impacted your life?
I appreciate the fact that it gives me a lighthearted start to the day and brings some clarity to difficult issues that Christians face in the world today. Thank you. I love it. The only morning show, it's the only talk show that I've ever listened to. Makes me laugh, makes me cry, it makes me think about really deep things, makes me wonder, it makes me want to be a part of calling in and just piggybacking off of people's opinions and encouraging one another. And I'm just so thankful it always points back to God, glorifying God.
We want to hear your star story. Call us now, 505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483. And share your star story.
Every breath counts, especially for the more than 334,000 New Mexican residents living with a lung disease such as lung cancer, asthma, or COPD. Join the fight and walk with the American Lung Association at the Albuquerque Lung Force Walk Saturday morning, November 10th at 9 a.m. at the Hoffmantown Church. Enjoy family-friendly activities, lung health education, and inspiring stories of hope. Together, we'll raise funds and awareness for lung disease research, education, and advocacy. The dollars raised can help researchers develop better early detection methods, treatments, and ultimately cures. Create a team with your friends, family, and coworkers and show those with lung disease that they're not alone. Help end lung disease and support those who deserve a fighting chance. Register at lungforce.org/walk or call 1-800-LUNG-USA. Part of Mission New Mexico, sponsored by TLC Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, KNKT 107.1 FM, and Star 88.
Pastor Jack Graham and a Star 88 Supernova.
It's very vital that you learn good conflict resolution in life and in your marriage, because conflict is inevitable. How you handle it. There are no problems too big to solve, only people too small to solve. And there's no problem that you cannot face in the power of the Holy Spirit, and if two people are working together, you can resolve the conflict. Say, Jack, do you and Deb ever have any conflict? You ever have any arguments? No, we don't have arguments, actually. We can be heard discussing things several blocks away from time to time. Sure, we have arguments. Sure we have discussions, but through the years, we've learned to manage our misses and to be successful in resolving conflict along the way.
Catch Pastor Jack Graham, PowerPoint, broadcast weekdays at 10:30 a.m. on our sister station, KNKT. This is Star 88 at 88.3 FM, KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and online at star88.com. starty8.fm.
I know the fight I'm facing is no surprise to you. This time's not lost or wasted, but I forget. Underwater like I'm drowning, can't seem to catch my breath. I know this fear that found me is powerless. Sometimes I just don't remember. Oh, when I forget, remind me you never abandon, you find me. No matter what happens, you're holding my heart in your hands. So you're moving when I can't see what you're doing. Your scars have already proven your love cannot be denied. In my life, won't you remind me? All of you can be astounding, marvelous and humbling. That the God who holds creation is holding me. Sometimes I just don't remember. Oh, when I forget, remind me you never abandon, you find me. No matter what happens, you're holding my heart in your hands. So you're moving when I can't see what you're doing. Your scars have already proven your love cannot be denied. In my life, won't you remind me? You promised to never leave. You're always here with me. So I'll give my all to you, the one thing I'll never lose. You promised to never leave. You're always here with me. So I'll give my all to you, the one thing I'll never lose. Sometimes I just don't remember. Oh, when I forget, remind me you never abandon, you find me. No matter what happens, you're holding my heart in your hands. So you're moving when I can't see what you're doing. Your scars have already proven your love cannot be denied. In my life, won't you remind me? You never abandon, you find me. No matter what happens, you're holding. You never abandon, you find me.
The Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O on Star 88.
I've got things that I thought would fill my heart up, sitting on top, winning, but that ain't winning. I've chased all the good stuff, all the bad stuff the world calls living, but that ain't living. Hey, don't really matter what I do. Hey, don't mean nothing without you. I don't wanna have it all, write my story any way I want. Everything will just fall apart if you waited, I don't wanna give my way, no, I don't wanna run this thing, 'cause I know it all ends the same if you waited, If you waited, I want all that you want, all that you got, point my heart towards you. I want you to. Hey, nothing else is gonna matter. Hey, if you're not what I'm after. I don't wanna have it all, write my story any way I want. Everything will just fall apart if you waited, I don't wanna give my way, no, I don't wanna run this thing, 'cause I know it all ends the same if you waited, If you Yeah, 'cause you know what's best for me, and you know you are the only one I need. Oh, I don't wanna have it all. I don't wanna have it all. I don't wanna have it all. Write my story any way I want. Everything will just fall apart if you waited, if you waited. I don't wanna give my way. No, I don't wanna run this thing, 'cause I know it all ends the same if you waited, if you waited. If you wait. If you
The Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O.
Hi, how are you? Good morning, everybody. Live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios. What's happening, everybody? Thursday.
Yep.
Feeling good, feeling good, feeling all right. Well, it doesn't look too bad outside. No wind. Thank goodness. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, I think. It's going to be beautiful. Don't forget tomorrow between noon and 2 o'clock.
Yes.
Village Pizza on the west side. You show up, you show us that you downloaded the Star 88 app, and you get lunch, pizza, and a drink. Hang out with us. Have lunch. Love you guys. Thanks for being a part of the Starmy. And thanks to Village Pizza. 505-338-3700 if you'd like to call into the show.
Yep.
You can text in as well. What's the number?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483. Text in, be a part of the Morning Invasion.
Be a part of it, guys. Be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? I have a really cool story to share. As you know, I started running earlier this year, and I love it. I think it's great. I feel better. And it's getting cold, so I probably will quit. I probably will just give up because it's just going to be too cold for me to run.
Okay,
but,
stop
we'll see
it.
what happens. I found the story. It's pretty cool. 10 years old, okay? Think about, let's try to go back. If you are old like us, try to go back to when you were 10 years old. That's even possible. Life was so simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't really have to worry about much.
5th grade, bro. 5th grade.
School was tough, but...
Was it? I mean, we had one teacher. 5th grade was my favorite. Shout out to Miss Kelly, Sandia Base Elementary School. I still miss you.
See, I was homeschooled. 5th
Love
grade.
you, Miss Kelly.
I don't know what it's like.
Miss you.
4th and 5th grade, I was homeschooled.
She was like one of those student teachers, you know what I mean? When I was in 5th grade and she was like 20 and it was like, oh,
yeah,
she's a woman. First crush.
She's a woman.
I love Miss Kelly.
This kid, who's 10 years old, he lives in San Francisco. How do you say that name? Not Niall? Neil?
Sure.
Niall. We'll call him Niall. Niall McDermott. He just finished a pretty impressive feat this past Sunday. His grandfather has been battling lung cancer, and he wanted to do something to support him. So Niall challenged himself to run 50 5K races in 50 days. He's 10 years old.
This is insanity.
We read stories like this sometimes, and I'm just 10 years old, and okay, all right. You know, it's a great cause. You know, great cause.
Yeah.
Okay. So he challenged himself. Let's see if he's done it. All right. His parents talked to his doctor about it first. And they told him he could stop whenever he wanted to. Okay, no pressure. Because they figured, well, he'd probably quit at some point, and they really didn't think he'd actually do all 50 races. He did all 50 races.
Gosh.
This 10-year-old kid finished 50 races, 50 5K races in 50 days. He ran his first 5K at the end of August, ran his 50th in San Francisco on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
He raised about $4,000 for cancer research in the process. He says he got the idea after he saw a documentary called Iron Cowboy about a guy who did 50 Ironman races in 50 days.
Dude, what's amazing is his parents didn't think he was going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
They said, I thought it was very unlikely. 10-year-olds are fantastic, but they embark on a lot of things that they don't finish. So,
Yep.
you know, you've had kids who, like, say they're going to do something, and then you're like, okay, let's see how this plays out.
They're playing Fortnite, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Landon would probably come to me and say, Dad, I want to play 50 Fortnite games in 50 days.
Remember, the Starmy chimed in to be a jerk and said, that's only 3.1 miles.
Oh, my
That's
gosh.
so easy.
Block them right now. Is that Jarrett? Block them.
No, she's a runner. She's the one that ran her 6th half marathon recently.
Okay, now look. Okay.
10-year-old.
Really? Really?
3.1 miles
10 years
every
old.
single day for 50 days
Yeah.
in a 10-year-old's brain?
That's impressive. That's insane. That's crazy. And this, listen, Starmy, remember? You probably run 4, 5, 10 miles a day, and it doesn't seem like a big deal. 10 years old,
10
man.
years old, bro.
That's impressive.
Every day for 50 days. Imagine that. 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's signing up. He signed up for 50.
Yep. 50 of them.
55Ks.
How much did that cost for, that tour to find 55Ks?
Right.
Here is the 10-year-old and his mom talking about it.
I want to do 55Ks in 50 days.
Is that kind of a strange thing for a 10-year-old kid to want to do?
Well, not for me, but for most kids, I think so.
He never complained a single day, said he didn't want to do it or he was too tired or something hurt. He was just ready to go every day, and I'm amazed. I mean, I've never really known a kid to do something like this personally, and I'm proud to be his mom.
What were you thinking today as you were doing the final 5K?
I was thinking, like, I'm gonna finish this and I can do it, and when I finish it, I won't have to do any more.
Yeah, I'm sure he was probably ready to be done. But I love that he did it for his grandfather.
Raised $4,000, and the money is donated to the Bonnie J. Adario Lung Cancer Foundation in honor of his grandfather. So
yeah, and I've watched that Iron Cowboy.
Yeah.
It's insane. This guy, he did 50 Ironman races. If you don't know what an Ironman race is, you should look
like
that
a
up.
triathlon.
That's crazy. So it's like it's a swimming, running, and biking, and
shooting. And then they shoot targets
No,
off of the back of turkeys, which is impossible because turkeys are running around like madness, and you have to hit the bullseye.
No,
it's really impressive. Go watch it.
You might be right, actually.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
So it's a 2.4 mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, and a 26.2 mile run. That's an Ironman. So
Looper said 3.1 miles a day for 50 days straight. That's over 150 miles. Respect, kid.
Respect. That's right, man. It's pretty cool.
Somebody said, so why is it called a 5K and not a 3-point-whatever mile run? Because it's 5 kilometers, right?
Yeah.
5 kilometers, which, in America equals to about 3.1 miles.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right, Steve-O. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So shout out to that 10-year-old. If you're a young man, young woman listening to the program right now, hopefully you were inspired. I know I've been inspired today because I am challenging myself today.
Somebody said, I feel bad for his mom having to go to 50 races in 50 days. Please don't challenge yourself because that means I'm going to have to do whatever it is
Today,
you're about to.
Starmy,
Here we go.
I am challenging myself. I will run 5 miles without my shoes, without my socks, and without my shirt. And Steve-O's doing it with me.
Nope.
Yep. We're going to film all of it. It's going to be beautiful. And we're going to do it for 50 days straight. Okay? I don't even care if our feet fall off. I don't care if I can't walk. I'm going to do it. What are you going to do, Steve-O? What are you going to challenge yourself to do?
Today,
What's your challenge?
I am going to allow you to make an outlandish goal and watch you do it. And then I'm going to go home and get ready for my anniversary dinner. Because that's a feat in and of itself.
That's very true.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay married today, guys. 16 years.
That's the
welcome to it.
That's
That's
great
a
advice,
feat, bro.
man. You know, take it day
That's
by
a
day.
feat.
You know, if you want to your marriage to last, take it just one day at a time. You know,
That's how I do everything.
one day
I
at a
get
time.
bills in the mail, and I'm like, this one's due this day. I'm going to take this day by day.
One
Not
day.
even going to think about you till the day you're
Day
due,
by
buddy.
day.
I'll
Day
see you
by
later. You're going in that bill drawer.
Day by day.
Somebody said your challenge, Dex, should be to watch 50 seasons of television in 50 days.
Already done it.
Yeah, he's
already done it.
That's not even it.
Mastered that like years ago. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Yep. I've done them all, guys. I've done them all. So shout out to this young man. I'm so proud of him. And, you know, a father can only hope that his children would turn out to be like that young man. Do you feel inspired yet?
No.
Okay, well, maybe I
Sorry.
can inspire you.
Okay,
with this
inspire me,
story.
bro. I need inspiration this morning.
You know, it's pumpkin season.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice everywhere.
Yeah.
And all things
Yeah,
nice.
thanks, B-Dubs, for ruining yet another thing.
We just talked about a 10-year-old. Let's talk about a 6-year-old.
Oh, okay. That's the Brody's going to be 6 in November.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
This 6-year-old kid in western Michigan named Ian Unger. He has type 1 diabetes.
Oh.
So his parents constantly have to monitor his insulin levels.
Yeah.
And they've been looking into getting him a service dog to help out. See, you didn't know this, but dogs, they can actually...
Smell fear.
No.
Oh.
No. They're trained to give shots to people.
That's not...
They can use their little paws, and there's a special, like, syringe and that they can inject the
That's not
medicine.
what a service dog
Yeah, it
does
is, and they have these
with the
backpacks on them. They're like
children.
that they strap around the dogs, and that's where the insulin and everything just is stored right there. It's like a walking fanny pack, basically. It's beautiful. Dogs can be specially trained now to sense when your insulin levels are dropping.
Isn't that crazy?
So crazy. All they do is they smell you. They can smell it. Here's the thing. A service dog can cost up to about 25 grand.
For a dog?
Yeah, sometimes you got to wait up to like a year.
This one smells fear and insulin levels.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this 6-year-old Ian and his mom knew they had some time to raise money, so they came up with an idea to grow pumpkins this year and sell them for Halloween. They posted photos on Facebook a few weeks ago, offering big pumpkins for $10, smaller ones for $5. And once people found out where the money was going, well, of course, they completely sold out. It put a small dent into what they needed to raise, but you can imagine what happened.
Yeah.
Somebody out there, well, actually, it wasn't just somebody, it was Ian's mom, realized, you know what, this story might go viral. So contacted the news. Next thing you know, there was a Facebook fundraiser, and as of last night, where are we at? Let's see. As of last night, we are at $22,000. $22,000, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Remember, the dog cost 25 grand.
You don't think they could hook him out with a discount? I mean, come on.
Yeah, you know, I mean, maybe that's like a superhero dog, man.
But where did they get all these pumpkins from?
All you do is just throw the seeds out on the ground and they
Okay.
grow.
Yeah, all right.
I'm
Thanks.
serious, man.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, try it. Backyard, just throw them out there. Next year, pumpkins. Seriously. So yeah, pretty amazing, right? So now this little guy, this 6-year-old, is going to get a dog, and it's amazing, right? Man, we take our lives for granted, man. Every single day, I'm healthy. There's nothing wrong with me. I can go for a run every day. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, if I happen to lose my leg or lose an arm, it's like, gosh, man.
Yeah.
Every day we take everything for granted.
Here's what's weird. There's more to this story. He has to have this service dog, because I'm like, well, why does he need a service dog? Like, there's alert systems, there's this, that, the other. I guess where he lives in the Tri-County area school system, he's not allowed to ride the public bus without an alert dog that would ride with him to and from school.
Okay.
So until he has this dog, he can't take the bus.
Wow. Is it because of the responsibility of...
I guess so.
Yeah.
Like, I'm reading about it and I'm going, this is so odd. So schools obviously have budget limitations, and so this dog is literally supposed to be able to ride the bus with him, and he wouldn't be able to ride the school bus without this dog because of his type 1 diabetes. Yeah. Oh, you okay?
Shut my mic off.
Yeah. So that's why the cost, that's why the importance of the dog, because I'm going, that's cool and all, but, I mean, he can have my dog. I don't even like my dog. He said, I want to see my friends on the bus because most of them ride the bus and they don't take cars, and I want to ride the bus with them because I want to see them.
That's very true.
His parents also said, do you know what it's like having to take him to school every single day? Let's get this kid a dog so that we don't have to take him to school anymore.
Amen. Amen.
That's right.
You know, every day when I'm at the Petersons, I'm sitting on this beautiful, comfortable couch, and I glance over and I see a dog staring back at me.
Really creepy dog.
Yep. Her
Really
name is
creepy
Lily,
dog.
and I believe
just
she
staring at you, man.
is smelling something. I don't know what it is yet. Maybe I have diabetes. I'm not sure. But every single day I look over, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see Lily just constantly staring at me. And every day I dedicate a John Mayer song to her.
That's good.
Because I love her so much.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Have you ever heard about those? There was a cat or something at a hospital, and every time a cat would go into somebody's room, that person would end up dying like within 24 hours. What? So people would freak out every time the cat would come into your room. They'd be like, I'm going to die.
It's clearly the cat.
Yeah. And they say that like this cat.
What if they found out later that it was because they were allergic to cats and they let the cat in the room and then they're like,
right?
Whoa, this is crazy. Every time this cat walks into a room, that patient dies within 24 hours. They should look into that.
Yeah. They say like dogs, they can smell like diseases. They can smell. I mean, look
they
at here.
Smell fear. They smell food, crumbs, body odor. That's according to a Star member.
Well, they can smell cancer too.
Somebody wants to know what happens to the dog while he's at school. Because it's true, he rides the bus to and from school with him. So does the dog just kick it at school with him? Does the dog have to wait in the bus? Like,
I don't know.
What's up with this?
Why you guys got to take it there? You know, let's just be happy that little Ian has a dog now.
Well, I mean,
a dog will be fine. You know, I mean, poor Dexter and Lily are locked in their cage all day. So maybe the dog's in a cage. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's with Ian. Who knows?
Okay. All right.
Just be happy for Ian. Jeez.
Sure.
And be happy for the dog. I mean, the dog has a job.
Still curious.
Think about jobs. Dogs don't have jobs, man. And I think it's just awful that dogs don't have jobs. Anyways, hopefully we inspired you guys today, and you can
sell
go
pumpkins.
out and sell pumpkins. You can go run a Ironman.
Or just go check out the Galloping
5K.
Grace Youth Ranch. I love them.
Come do it, man. Go adopt a dog today or a cat or something. All right, we're live on Facebook and YouTube at Star 88 FM. We're going to take a quick break, guys. If you guys want to chime in, you can call us when we come back. 505-338-3700. And you can text in. What's the live line number?
505-5855. That's 505-585-5483. Stay away from Facebook. It's become a cult, and they're having their own conversations at this point. They're like the others on Lost. We just kind of let them do their thing. If you want to join the new hotness, youtube.com/star88fm.
All right, a couple things to talk about when we come back. Burger King has a new green Halloween sandwich that they say will help you have nightmares. Science! Okay. How does this work? I don't know. We'll talk about it. And the Connors, it's back. Roseanne, well,
she's not back.
She's not back, but the ratings are in. How well did the Connors do without Roseanne?
I'm actually curious about this.
All right, we'll find out when we come back. Live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios. Hang on.
What's next for our world? Here's Skip Heitzig with this hotspot.
One of the great attributes of God is that he knows the end from the beginning. He has omniscience, and he can tell what's going to happen before it even happens.
And get this about the Lord.
He makes hundreds of detailed predictions so that when they come to pass, people will look at the fulfillment and look back at the great God who made them and place their faith and trust in him.
Here's a sizzling point from Skip.
The second coming of Jesus Christ is the culmination of all Christian hope throughout all of the centuries. Our Lord taught us to pray, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven."
Find Skip's full teaching library at connectwithskip.com. Now this from Skip.
So when you think of what's next, also think of what will happen after that next thing. Ultimately, we're going to be with him in glory.
Hotspot.
Dietrich Bonhoeffer wrote, "Cheap grace is the grace we bestow on ourselves. Cheap grace is the preaching of forgiveness without requiring repentance, baptism without church discipline, communion without confession. Cheap grace is grace without discipleship, grace without the cross, grace without Jesus Christ, living and incarnate." A solar flare on Star 88.
I see through your eyes. You breathe with my lungs. I strain with your ear to make out what's your mother's song. Blessed with your hand.
Christine Kane challenges us to not just look at those around us, but to see the person as Christ sees them in this Star 88 PowerPoint.
You know, my daughter, Sophia, she was having a lot of problems at school, and I couldn't work it out because she's so bright. She really is, like her mother. And anyway, she was really doing quite bad at school. And I thought there's a disparity here. I wasn't kind of being one of those, mothers that think your kids are awesome. I really wasn't. But I thought there's just something not right. And so we took her to the eye doctor, which, if the teacher had half a brain, may have picked this up a lot earlier. And when we took her to the eye doctor, he was just stunned at how bad her eyes were. And then he did a prescription, and she put on glasses. I'll never forget it. She put on glasses. She went, "Mummy, there's words on the whiteboard." And see, what happens is she didn't even know she couldn't see. And a lot of us don't even know that we can't see.
That's Christine Kane on a Star 88 PowerPoint.
What's going on in the news today?
Severe flooding in Texas, forcing the governor to issue disaster declarations in 18 counties.
The rushing water here came up 5 feet in 15 minutes.
Saudi Arabia finally gave Turkish forensics investigators access to the Saudi Consul General's residence in Istanbul.
I want to find out what happened. Where is the fault?
Turkish officials claim the Saudis executed Khashoggi.
A high-ranking official at the Treasury Department is now charged tonight, accused of leaking sensitive financial information in several high-profile cases.
President Trump presented the nation's highest military honor to a Vietnam veteran.
Retired Sergeant Major John Canley received the Medal of Honor.
In Canada, the first legal purchase of marijuana has officially been made.
The 0-2, Granderson to third, and a strikeout ends Game 5. The Dodgers win it 5-2 and lead 3 games to 2.
Kimbrel deals, Bregman in the air, left field. Benintendi dives, and he makes the catch! Oh, what a play! Game saver! The Red Sox win! Wow, what a finish!
Tomorrow, guys, noon to 2. Join us. Lunch. You want lunch? You want pizza? You want a drink? Show up. Village Pizza on the west side between noon and 2. And show us that you downloaded the Star 88 app to your phone, and you can have lunch on us. Thanks to Village Pizza.
I mean, not on us.
You can pour all
That'd be
of
really
the
weird.
fixins on Steve-O.
Nope.
Sauce. You can throw pepperoni at his face.
No.
If it sticks,
still not
you win a
true.
prize. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. A lot of people out there, that tune in, watch on YouTube and Facebook, call in, listen. Never met face-to-face. Would love to give you a pound, a high five, a hug.
A hug.
Just want to give you a hug. All right, be a part of the show, guys. Be a part of the show. Chime in. 505-338-3700. I just shared on my Instagram page a really cool story that our friend Clopez tagged me in.
Oh, no. It's going to make us cry.
Oh, it's a really amazing story, and I want people to go to the article that Runner's World put out and read it. It literally took me 5 minutes to read.
And he doesn't know how to read, guys.
I don't know how to read, guys. It's like one paragraph. It took me like 5 minutes. Visual impairment doesn't stop these siblings from running cross country.
Oh, gosh.
So this incredible family adopted these kids from China. And, of course, they're blind. And
what do you mean, of course?
Well, I was going to say.
What does that mean,
I was
of
gonna
course?
Say,
they're from China, so of course.
Can I finish my story?
They're
please?
blind.
I was going to say.
Of course.
Of course, if you think about, like, sports, there's not a whole lot a blind person can do. They can't play basketball. They can't play baseball because it all involves a ball. You can't throw a ball at a blind person, Steve-O. That's where I was going. Anyways, this family decided, you know what? Why not running? Why not running? Let's look into this. So they went to the school and they started to talk to the school about, hey, we want our kids to run cross country. Is that possible? And the school board's like, let's check it out. So they did some research, made sure the kids were healthy, and they're like, okay, we can make this happen. So these 4 kids adopted from China that are blind started cross country, and they have to have like a blind, or not a blind, but a person next to them
They
to
have
like
a
guide
blind
them.
person
It's
to run with them.
A blind guide. I can't remember what they called them, but it was like they have to have somebody running next to them to make sure they can get through the course. Right? It's incredible to see. So they've done cross country races now, and they're actually doing really good. They're doing great. And I was thinking that how crazy would that be? Running, not being able to see a hole in the ground, or I mean, when you run outside, unless you're on like the pavement and a smooth surface, it's hard, man. I have a difficult time just running, and I can see.
Yeah.
Imagine being blind. I have a new challenge. Blindfold me today before I go for my run, and I'm going to try it, and you have to follow me.
That's not
You have
gonna
to be my
happen.
blind guide. Will you do that for me? I want to do that in honor of these kids because that's incredible. It's on my Instagram story. You guys can find the article. It's really amazing. And the family reminds me so much of the Clopez family. This family, they adopted, I don't know if they're all adopted, but they have 9 kids. They have 9 kids. And they adopted these 4 blind kids. If you don't know the Clopez family, they have like 23 kids. Actually, what, 10 kids? Is that how many they have? 10?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to punch you.
So I'm sorry. I'm trying to regulate the internet right now, man. Come on.
Anyways, thank you, Brian, for tagging me.
And yes, they
very
have
cool
10.
story.
Sorry.
Very cool.
They have 10 children.
Thank you.
We had a
So
crazy.
I wanted to
we had
know.
a crazy year.
I want you to pay attention to me.
I'm like taking care of things, bro.
You know what? Blindfold yourself right now.
Okay. Can't do that because I have to moderate
No,
YouTube
you don't have
and
to do
Facebook,
anything.
and sometimes I got to.
All right. Do you want the Burger King story or the Connors story first? Which one do you want, man? Which one do you want? You decide.
By the way, this is common. A blind kid ran track cross country in Moriarty from 2004
You know
to
what?
2007.
I am so sick of the Star Me this morning. It's like they want to one-up everything that we talk about.
Just saying.
Oh, it's like a 10-year-old running a 5K every day for 50 days straight. That's not a big deal. I run a marathon almost every day. Stop one-upping, okay?
Okay, speaking of one-upping, let's talk about. I want to talk the Connors because I'm actually very, very curious to see how it did. It was pretty divided. Like, well, I'm not watching that show without Roseanne.
I'm not watching.
Oh, I'm not watching that show because of Roseanne. Oh, she's gone. I'll watch the show now. I did notice that there are other shows suffering because when a big cast member leaves, they announced that The Walking Dead. They announced that Rick Grimes, the lead character, is leaving because his family lives in London and it's hard because they film in Atlanta. And he's like, I'm going to leave the show. And I hate that we know these things, like in the, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this guy's leaving the show. And it clearly hurt. They are at an all-time ratings low. It's never been this bad. Well, yeah, it's not even a good show right now, but
it's just terrible.
It's an all-time ratings low, and they just signed all these actors for like big extensions, and they're going, "Are we going to get to continue the show? Because it's terrible right now."
Yeah, it's not very good.
So I'm curious to know how the Connors did.
Yeah, so it premiered last night, and so when Roseanne came back last year, it premiered with 23 million viewers, which is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ginormous for the network.
Right.
The Connors debuted last night. It averaged 10.6 million viewers. They're saying that number might climb a little bit once DVR and delayed viewing are factored in. They say when you look at that, it's not exact. They say it's exactly where Roseanne was when it left off. So the end of Roseanne last year, that's where it was at. 10.6 million people were watching the season finale on May 22nd. But it was down from last season's premiere, which attracted 18.4 million viewers. Some are saying that it might be because Roseanne isn't on the show anymore. Some people are saying, well, maybe it's just people tuning in to see what it's going to be like without Roseanne. Are they going to make it work? Because that's kind of where I'm at. I almost want to watch just the first episode just to see what it's like. I did that with Lethal Weapon, and then I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. I think I'm going to keep watching. But I don't like how the whole Roseanne thing went down, so I don't know if I'm going to support the Connors just because of that.
Okay.
And it's not really just the Connors, it's the network, okay? I don't like how they handled it.
Come on!
All right?
I agree, but I mean, come on! I gotta be opposite.
So, there you go. There you go. It's
Good luck,
10.6,
Stormy
so we'll
member!
see what happens. We'll see what?
They're going into their midterm, and they said, wish me luck, and they typed it in all caps, so I took it seriously, and I just wanted to yell, good luck.
Dude,
Sorry.
Good luck. You're going to do
Good luck.
great.
Some Stormy members doing great things, some Stormy members making me angry. Somebody said, In-N-Out Burger coming to New Mexico!
Is that fake news?
So it's like, when, where, what's your source?
You
And
can't
it's like,
say something like
just
that and
look.
not back it up.
Everyone. Okay, so I did some research, guys, for those that care.
Up.
For those that care.
I think I might be I have chest pains.
You're going to have chest pains because in about 5 to 7 years, you might have a really cheap burger here.
5 to 7 years?
In-N-Out Burger could be heading to New Mexico. Before everybody gets excited, let's be clear. The president of the company mentioned New Mexico yesterday when discussing the expansion plans for In-N-Out Burger.
They hate us.
Lindsay Snyder told Forbes that New Mexico could follow Colorado after it completes its new supply center near Colorado Springs. So here's the deal. They're getting a supply center in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
And that's going to like funnel to like the different In-N-Out burgers that are not necessarily California.
They don't freeze their meat. That's why you have to have those facilities.
Well, In-N-Out has a long-standing policy that all restaurants must fall within a day's drive from the nearest warehouse to ensure freshness of their beef. Therefore, having a warehouse in Colorado Springs, which is only about 6 hours or 5, depending on how fast you drive, from Albuquerque, that's great news.
Yeah, man.
Listen, that warehouse isn't expected to be completed until 2020.
I hate you.
So that warehouse completion in 2020 could potentially pave the way that it might possibly could maybe happen.
That's
what,
right.
Guys?
That's
it's news.
right.
It's news.
You block that Stormy member that said that.
I'm
Seriously,
going to.
we're just blocking
Because
you left and right
Here's the funny
today.
thing. The same news site, KOB, which was the only one to cover this, also had this story November 30th, 2017.
Boo!
When In-N-Out Burger announced that their distribution facility would be going to Colorado Springs, people were like, dude, Albuquerque, it's happening.
I don't want it to come here. Honestly, I really don't want it to come here because it's one of those things that's a special treat.
Yeah, what's up, Carl's Jr.? Carl's
Is that what-
Jr. was it? Yes.
Don't you dare.
I'm being
Don't
serious.
you dare.
Carl's Jr. was a California thing. Every time I went out to an Angels game, they had Carl's Jr. at the stadium, and I'm going, woo, Carl's Jr., man.
Oh my God.
That star guy
Guys,
plays.
he just compared it and out to
And then they
Carl's
brought
Jr.
Carl's Jr. to New Mexico, and it's a dump.
Yeah.
Stay where you at, bro.
Yeah.
Be a part of my travels and my journeys and everybody's Instagram when they go to
You know,
California or Nevada.
I was so
Arizona.
excited when the Flying J moved into New Mexico. I was like, "Oh, the Flying J!
Shut up.
I love the Flying J!" And then now I never go because it's just another gas station, really, with more stuff.
Oh, he made me snort. Somebody said, I love In-N-Out Burger, but I do not want one here in New Mexico because the terrible fast food employees will ruin the experience. You know?
I mean, but again, I go back to I don't want it to ruin the excitement, the joy that you get when you get to travel and go on vacation to where an In-N-Out Burger exists. Because if one was here, I'd eat it all the time and get fat and get sick of it. So,
yeah. So shout out to the news for getting everybody excited, thinking it's actually coming, and then it's like. The CEO said that it could expand to New Mexico after the completion of its facility in Colorado in 2020.
That's right. That's
look at. Okay. Well,
so lame, man. Oh.
Yeah, they don't even have. They have no plans.
No plans
for future locations.
No plans.
But it's a possibility. Somebody said, "Forget that. I want Shake Shack."
I still haven't had one of those.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. Somebody said I'd eat Blake's over In-N-Out every day.
Block them.
That's it. What? That's a true New Mexican right there.
True New Mexican. It isn't Blake's from Texas.
Blake's Lotta-Burger?
Yeah, dude. It's the Texas burger.
You are thinking of Whataburger. You are a fool, and I do not like you.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
No, you're not.
Yeah, dude. Yep. El Paso. Mm-hmm. Do your research.
I'm going to now. History was Blake's Lotaburger was founded by World War II Navy veteran Blake Chancellor, who moved from Texas to Albuquerque after
I'm
World
sorry,
War-
your mic cut out there. He moved from Texas to
he was a Texas.
mid-Texas.
Will you turn my mic on? No, dude. He opened his first Lotta Burger on July 9th, 1952.
Wow.
On the corner of San Mateo and Southern in southeast Albuquerque.
So did he get into a fight with a family member or friend, and then that friend decided to open up Whataburger next door because they hated each other? Like, what is that all about? Like, I want to know the history there.
Because
Like,
it's
Lotaburger
Lotta
and
and
Whataburger?
Wada, that's like not even the same thing.
Really?
All right, here, let's look
Really?
it up.
There
Okay.
has to be some
Okay, let's
weird,
remember,
crazy
Let's
story.
remember, founded in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1952, okay?
Yeah.
We're giving you guys a history lesson, even though Phoenix is
Yeah,
gone.
because that guy was from Texas.
Things that matter.
So,
Things that matter.
Okay, and what? Whataburger's from Texas.
Wada is from, oh no.
Oh, whoa. Oh.
Wada is from San Antonio, Texas. And they began in 1950.
Huh. Around the same time as Lotaburger Man.
2 years before Lotta came to be.
Oh, so Lotta, he was the friend. He was the guy who got upset with his best friend and decided to open.
Is it just because you say Wada and Lotta? Is that why you think they're like closely related?
You really don't think they're closely related at all? Wada and Lotta?
No, Wada is one word. And it's not even Wada. It's supposed to be what a burger. What a burger.
Yeah, Lot a Burger. It's the same thing, guys. Lot a Burger.
And besides, who doesn't call it Blake's? You call it Lotta Burger or you call it Blake's?
That's a good question. I never really go, so I don't know.
Right.
Blake's, I guess, yeah. I call it Blake's. Yeah, my kids always ask for a Blake's breakfast burrito.
Ah, see? Nobody says Lotta Burger.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's Lot a Burger. I'm just kidding.
It's lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So it's built on a lot, and then a burger.
It's so funny that you just they are not related in any way, shape, or form.
I am not alone in this at all. I am not alone. You're a weirdo
You're
for thinking they're
alone.
not the same at all.
It's
Give me a break.
not.
I get confused all the time. All the time.
They're not even closely related.
Yeah, because one takes 2 hours to get your food, and the other one takes 5 minutes. Like
that's because one is
Whataburger.
mass market national
Get outta
chain, and the other one is America, bro.
Yeah, I don't
That's
get
New
it.
Mexico
Why
right
have
there.
a drive-through if you have to sit there for an hour? That's ridiculous. Like
You got me there because
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. That's literally
it's crazy,
everyone.
right, dude? Whataburger.
Oh
All right,
man.
speaking of burgers, let's talk about Burger King.
Yeah, let's go here.
Yeah, you know who else was in a fight? Mr. King and Wendy. Okay, that story's
not a thing.
crazy, man.
That's not a
They were
real
dating
thing.
one day.
No, they were not.
Yep.
Wendy's the name of the founder of Wendy's
Yeah, right.
daughter.
Yeah, right.
Wendy, it was Dave. What was his name? Dave. He was in all the commercials. Remember?
Dave's daughter was Wendy,
founder
dude.
Dave so-and-so.
That was
from
his redheaded
Wendy's.
child.
I know that because the 90s commercials, and that guy was there, and he was like, my daughter Wendy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, guys.
Okay.
Okay, well, Burger King, they just launched a new sandwich coming out called the Nightmare King.
The what?
The Nightmare King.
Oh, gosh.
It's a chicken sandwich with bacon and cheese, but the Halloween aspect, well, it's green bun, okay?
Okay.
And it's not just any green bun. Apparently, Burger King teamed up with some researchers who ran a study and found that when people ate the sandwich, they had 3.5 times more nightmares than usual.
So from different studies in the past, we know that foods can affect dreams and sleep quality, and we're going to be looking at specific mixtures of proteins and see if that can actually disrupt a person's sleep and possibly induce a nightmare.
So basically what we're doing tonight is a polysomnography. We're going to be putting a couple of electrodes on your head, and we're going to check for electrical brain activity.
Stupidest thing
and we're going to determine if you have nightmares or not. Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.
Okay. Publicity
So
stunt.
right here you can see the subject's brain activity is picking up.
You see that? That's
and
crazy.
so is their heart rate, which may have displayed a nightmare.
Look at him. So
I
uncomfortable.
remember hearing voices and like people walking around talking. When I would wake up, I think I didn't hear the voices.
See, Steve-O?
Someone in my dream turned into the burger. The burger then transformed into the figure of a snake.
This is the stupidest
turning
thing ever.
around once in a while because of the cables, it didn't bother me.
In the water, I was swimming.
No way.
And I remember I saw, like, alien coming up from the water and was trying to attack this little boat I was on.
Our clinical study proves that the Nightmare King
It
increases
proves
your chances of having
scientific.
nightmares by 3.5.
Science. Whoa! Science, guys. Science.
Somebody said they're calling it the Nightmare Burger because they finally realized how terrible their food is.
Yeah.
Rosalind says, forget the burger, the BK mascot gives me nightmares.
And seriously, right? You're right. Yeah.
Oh, Nathan says, speaking of nightmares, my nightmare is no signal in Roswell, New Mexico. They don't have their Star 88. Download the app.
Bye-bye.
Also, I'm sorry, Roswell.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Adios, Roz.
Stop it.
Night-night. Sweet dreams.
Oh, gosh.
Look at these.
This is the
You think those are paid
stupidest
actors?
thing I've ever...
Are those paid actors?
Of course they're paid actors.
No way,
This
dude.
is
Those
so
are-
dumb.
Those are patients in a facility. The sleep experts are trying to figure out if they have nightmares because of this stupid new Burger King sandwich.
No. Looper says they are correct. Food poisoning can give you bad dreams.
And, yeah, other things,
Okay.
too.
Let's just throw out the fact that this is totally a publicity stunt and Burger King is stupid. If there was a food that provenly could cause nightmares, would anybody want to eat it?
Yeah, bro! Are you kidding me? I love dreams, and more specifically, nightmares are my favorite. Why do I sound like Scooby-Doo?
Somebody said all you have to do is tell people that the burger will make you have nightmares, and at night, it's all you're going to think about, so your brain will be
Whatever.
thinking nightmares. And
Not
then you go
true.
to bed, nightmares.
Not true.
Somebody said, oh, please, nobody remembers their dreams that vividly.
It depends. Sometimes
I was
I
gonna
do.
say, sometimes I have some pretty vivid dreams, and I wake up and I'm like, dude!
Sometimes I'll actually I'll grab my phone right when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'll write down
Me
like
too.
my dream
That's
because I know I'll
hilarious.
forget it.
But it was like crazy vivid in the moment,
Yeah.
and yep, I do that
Yep.
too sometimes. Why do we do that?
What are you talking about, Steve?
Okay.
Sweet dreams.
But really, like, why? Why?
Why what?
Why would we want to eat a burger that causes nightmares? Like, seriously.
Yeah, why not?
Publicity stunt aside.
No way, man.
If somebody told me it was going to cause nightmares, would I really want to eat it? Actually, part of me says yes, because I'd be
Thank
curious
you.
to see if it actually works.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
We have to try this, man. Now, do you have to eat it before you go to bed, or does it matter? Like, at what time of day do you have to eat it? Those are all
so
great questions. I
stupid.
really need
No,
answered
no.
before I
We
take,
should really
take
overthink
part.
this and try and call their corporate office. Be like, okay, yeah, we heard about this Nightmare Burger. We're
Yeah.
from Star 88 FM, and
Yeah.
our listeners demand answers.
Wondering, you know,
What
like, is
time
there
of
a
day do we have
specific
to eat
time?
this?
You know, do I have to eat the whole thing? Can I order it without tomato?
And if you order it without tomato, will you have less of a chance of having a nightmare
Right.
because it's not the actual...
Right.
Because I don't like onions. Onions
Mhm.
give me nightmares.
Yeah.
Just nightmare breath.
Oh, no. Well, apparently Burger King's already selling a Black Fanta slushie for Halloween. Reports that it's been turning people's... all sorts of strange colors. Have you ever had that?
No.
Oh. Me neither, man. Me neither. looks pretty good. You know, I don't know about a green bun, though.
Our
Kinda
girl
freaks me
Brandy
out.
says, come on, people like to be scared. Hello, horror movies.
Yeah, hello, haunted houses. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, but there's a
Dude,
difference
Steve-O
between that
scared
and
me to death
subjecting-
this morning.
Oh
Why didn't
my
we talk
gosh.
about this
We
morning?
should have talked about
Oh, my
this.
gosh. I wanted to punch you so bad. I mean, I've wanted to punch you the past 3 days.
I know,
really
we've
hard.
kind of been at each other.
I've never wanted to punch you harder than this morning because he totally pranked me and got me. Like, he got me.
When was the last time I pranked you?
We've
kind of been on edge with each other.
I don't know. Have you ever pranked me?
I don't know that I've ever
never
pranked
pranked
you. So
me.
this morning
You're
I
not a
pull
prankster.
into the parking lot and this dude's blacked out Mercedes is there. and
Oh,
I'm
wow.
going,
Put me on blast. Wow. Thanks.
and I'm going, gosh, look at that car.
It's beautiful.
But it was really dark this morning, so when I pulled in, I actually didn't see it at
looks
first. And I was
invisible.
like, oh no, is he not here yet? There's no way. I've literally never in the history of ever beaten Dex to work, except for like the one time he slept in. So I pull in and I'm going, oh no, is Dex not? Oh, okay, there's his car. But then it got in my brain and I'm thinking, oh, I've got a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
So I walk into the studios this morning and I see him and, pull on the act surprise bit. I go, oh, hey, you are here. It threw me off because your car's not parked in the same spot.
And I'm sitting there in my office going, wait, what do you mean it's not parked in the same spot?
Like, did you park on the other side or something? Because I didn't see your car this morning.
And no joke, my heart fell to my toes. I jumped out my chair,
He's
ran
freaking
over, and I
out,
looked at
guys.
Steve. I'm like,
Are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I thought you parked on the other side.
and I was like gonna run. I grabbed my keys and I was like ready to run out the door. I wanted to vomit. And then Steve-O starts laughing. It's not funny. Not funny.
It's so funny. You deserve it, you prankster. You prank everybody, and you
whatever.
needed it. You needed it in your life.
I started hyperventilating, and then it dawned on me, I love my car so
do.
much. Like
Oh,
I am in love with my car. Like I didn't think I loved it that
was
much.
that's the best
Until
prank.
something's gone, you don't know how much you love it.
Bro. Nonchalant about it. Chill. Like, oh, you are here.
Unbelievable.
Sorry,
Man.
I didn't think you were here. I didn't see your car.
Well, yeah, because the people steal cars out of this parking lot on a daily basis. So it's like, it didn't seem like it was like.
Exactly. That's the best prank.
Hate you. Terrible, man. It's not cool, dude. Not cool at all. Oh, wait, you know what? You reap what you sow.
Whatever. You had already forgotten
Yes.
about it until we were talking about this story. Don't give me that.
All right.
You can't prank the prankster.
Okay. Yeah. One morning you're going to wake up, no wheels. I'm going to take your wheels off of, what is your car's name? Gray Matter or something?
Jean Grey, man.
All right, we're way late. We got to go to break, guys, all right? We don't know if Shock There at the Beast happened.
It is. He's running late.
Okay,
so listen, enjoy the music for a few songs.
We'll be right back.
Dex, don't you think fall is the primo time in New Mexico?
True enough. When else do pigs fly?
I mean, I was kind of going for green chili roasting and turning trees, but...
Whatever. You just like October 31st when you get to wear a cape and tights to get candy.
Okay, let's not go there.
Okay, but let's go to the Fall Fest on the west side.
I'm there, man. Montano Plaza, Coors in Montano, bounce houses, obstacle courses, costume contests.
And lots of food, and of course, free candy for you, Steve-O, 6 p.m. on October 31st.
It's a favorite night for kids. Let's make it safe at the Calvary Church Fall Fest, Coors and Montano.
Details at calvarynm.church.
What keeps us from sharing our faith? Sometimes we may not think we know enough. Other times, we'd frankly rather stay inside our comfort zones. This week on A New Beginning, Pastor Greg Laurie points out we need to step outside our comfort zone, just as Jesus stepped outside his to give his life for our sins. Practical insight coming this week on A New Beginning.
Make an appointment with Greg Laurie weekdays at 8:30 a.m. on our sister station, KNKT 107.1 FM. A supernova on Star 88 with David Jeremiah.
Could I just tell you that Jesus believed in the total depravity of man? You say, Pastor, I don't believe that. Where did that come from? Well, the reason people don't believe in the total depravity of man is because most of the time they think that means that every man is as evil as every man could be. That's not true. That's not what total depravity is. total depravity isn't being as bad as you could be. Thank God for that. But total depravity means that in every part of every man's life, evil resides. That every one of us have the disease of sin, and it has affected us in every part of life. If you just look at the list, you will see it has to do with sexual attitudes. It has to do with pride and envy. It has to do with evil thoughts. Every part of every man has been affected by the cancer of sin. And we all have the disease, and it has affected us in every part of our life. Whether we like it or not, it's the truth.
Turning Point with David Jeremiah. Don't miss it on our sister station, KNKT, weekdays at 11 a.m. on 107.1 FM. This is KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe. Rebroadcast on KKCJ, Cannon Air Force Base, KPKJ, Mintmore, K201CC, Las Cruces, K203EZ, Alamogordo, K207CQ, Gallup, K211CW, Hobbs, K212EH, Silver City, K214DE, Antonito, K218AK, Artesia, K250AB, Roswell, K293AO, Alamosa, K228DQ, Portales, in the free app for iOS and Android, and online at star88.fm.
Just like the city lights. Just like the city lights. You're the brightest. You are lighting up the night. You're the wonder, bringing color to our lives. It's your love in us. Oh, it's your love in us. Oh, we're gonna burn bright like the city lights. We're gonna burn bright like we've come alive. We've come alive, and the world needs to know the hope that we hold. Love is breaking through the darkness. We're gonna burn bright like the city lights. Just like the city lights. Just like the city lights. Your love is a fire. Your love is a fire. We will never be the same, and our hearts cannot contain. Your love is a fire. Your love is a fire. We will never be the same, and our hearts cannot contain. Your love is a fire. Your love is a fire. Oh, we're gonna burn bright like the city lights. Just like the city lights. We're gonna burn bright like we've come alive. We've come alive, and the world needs to know the hope that we hold. Love is breaking through the darkness. We're gonna burn bright like the city lights. Just like the city lights. Just like the city lights. Just like the city lights.
don't you call us now? We have a show. It's called Shock Therapy Live.
That's so good.
Nate Heitzig, Nate Heitzig, Nate Heitzig, Nate Heitzig. He is here for you, so why don't you call us now? Shock Therapy Live.
Yep, guys, he's here. His name's Nate Heitzig. He's moving microphones because our other one is...
No, this is good, though.
No, I don't think I want to do the show anymore.
He's the boss, so now he understands. Look, bro, we have equipment in here that's older than you. And that's what happens when the mic processors go out because they're 70 years old.
There's no way this is older than me.
People are losing their minds right now because they didn't think that, you know, they're like, this is the first time I've ever seen Nate.
This is almost as old as I am. The board.
Whoa.
That's
really?
why it's, yeah, that's real. That actually is real. Yeah. I think that is actually older than you.
So I had a nightmare last night.
You did?
Yeah. And it's not like I'm not like gonna have like a pun here and make fun of you guys or something. No, I genuinely had a terrifying nightmare. So I dreamt that we had like a bunch of friends over to our house, and we were in our old house that we used to live in.
Was I there?
I don't know who was there. The only two
I bet
people
you
that
I wasn't because you never invite me.
The only two people that I remember being there was Jesse and Daniel.
See?
Luscos?
Yeah.
That's
They-
cool.
but, like it was
I'm
like
not
it was
even
like
in
a
your
party where
dream.
there was a
I'm not
bunch
even
of
in your fake parties.
There was a bunch of people there, but the only two people that like I distinguished in my mind were them, and they booby trapped my house.
Oh my gosh.
That's
booby
actually
traps.
pretty much the coolest thing I've ever heard.
And they had a line like, and it was weird. It wasn't. I don't even know where I got this idea, but it was like an explosive string that went from my door to the car, and I walked outside to go get my car, and I exploded.
Oh my gosh.
Were you listening to the morning show
I was
yesterday?
just going to say.
No.
We did a story about a guy who booby trapped his, like, he put a tripwire out by his car or by his back door, and he forgot that he set up a booby trap, and he shot his arm off.
He blew his own arm off. We talked about this on the show yesterday.
So like I blow up, but like I don't like blow up. Like I get exploded by this bomb, and my back, like my left side of my arm, my back, and my arm. All the skin and muscle were like gone.
Oh my gosh.
And I was walking around with like exposed bone and ligaments.
Wow.
But I was like, in my mind, I was like, I was so mad and it hurt so bad.
Well,
but I was
yeah.
like, I don't want anyone to know. So I put a jacket on over it to hide it.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Until like 24 hours later, I was like,
stream of
should I go to the hospital? And I like pulled the jacket down. He's like, oh my gosh. And yeah, it was such an interesting dream.
Wow.
And I was so nervous that I was going to have to get my arm amputated. And that's why I didn't want to go to the hospital because it was like, but if I go, they're going to cut my arm off.
Did you watch the last episode of The Walking Dead? Is that why?
No.
Oh, okay.
Dang it.
What?
Well, I'm
No
not
spoilers.
watching. I've already talked about the fact that I'm not even watching. I actually, you know
So
what?
wait a
Spoil
second.
away.
You're not allowed to spoil shows that you're no longer watching because you don't like them?
That's right.
Is that like a rule?
It's a rule.
I don't watch this show because I don't like it anymore, but don't spoil it for me because someday in like 30 years, I
know,
might
right?
decide I like it again.
Yeah, he'll watch. He's just telling us that.
I haven't watched it in a while either.
I watch. I shouldn't be. All right, it's Shock Therapy Lifetime, so phone lines are open, 505-338-3700. We definitely prefer phone calls because we can have a conversation. But a lot of people text in. They send us emails, studio@star88.fm. And what's the live line number to text in?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483. Keep in mind, if you act like an idiot, you will be blocked.
We've been banning
You will
people
be
like
banned.
crazy today.
I don't like
I've been
this
dealing,
spot.
I've been dealing with, you know,
Hey, man, change.
the old YouTubes.
Change,
so it's
bro.
Like,
It's
hey,
good for you.
Listen. So, yeah. Just know that ahead of... Okay. Somebody said... What, no. We're moving on to real stuff, so I'm going to... Ooh, this... You know, this feels a little more theological, but it also is very, very personal because... Well, welcome to 2018 in our culture. We talked a little bit about this epidemic yesterday because of a new album 21 Pilots just put out called Trench, which is literally like it's a downer, very sad album. And the character throughout the story of the album is basically in the valley of the shadow of death. And there's no hero, there's no Christ figure, it's literally like in those times when you're in a depressed state. And Tyler Joseph, the lead singer, talked about this and about how, yes, I'm very much still a Christian. He wanted to write something that where you experience those doubt, because in those moments sometimes those can be overwhelming and feel real, But there's a great song on there called Neon Gravestones that we talked about yesterday.
Your explanation of this question before you actually ask it's depressing me.
I know. So that's why. Well, that's why I wanted to talk about it, and even though it feels a little theological, Neon Gravestones. The song is It's about a character who basically refuses to quit, even though some of his heroes have committed suicide, even though he's seen it in culture, and sadly, we kind of elevate that. We kind of allow people to be put on a pedestal.
Have any of 21 Pilots' albums really ever been happy?
Vessel was pretty good in the hope.
But like I'm thinking of all the hits, all the 21 Pilots hits. Has there ever been one that's like that was a really encouraging song?
Trying to think of the hits on Blurry Face. Vessel had a couple that were. Anyway, okay, touche. We've probably talked about this before, but I have a lot of people asking this question, and I've never really had the answer to it. My question for Pastor Nate is: does God forgive suicide?
Yeah, I think we actually have. We've answered this a few different times, I think, through the years. It's weird that we've been doing this show for so long.
Right?
Dude, Shock Therapy Lives existed longer than the Dex and Steve-O Morning Invasion.
That's so true.
So the big thing for me, there's only one unforgivable sin that the Bible talks about, and that is the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. And blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is not suicide.
Right.
So I would say that 100% suicide is forgivable. Just like when we've gotten to this question before, sin is sin is sin is sin is sin. All sin is level at the foot of the cross. If right before you got into a car accident, you were thinking in your mind, man, I really hate this person, and then you got in a car accident and died, I don't believe you'd go to hell for that, because sin is paid for. The transaction, the payment of sin is paid for when you give your life to Jesus Christ. All your sin in the past and all your sin in the future is paid for by that transaction. It's not like a pay-as-you-go mobile phone plan. It's once and for all. It's a payment that's once and for all. And so I really believe that if that transaction has taken place in a true form, I believe that all sin is forgivable, and part of that sin is suicide. Suicide, the sin is murder. And again, let's play in the same scenario. You accepted Jesus Christ, you had a genuine relation with Jesus Christ, and something crazy happened and you murdered somebody, and in the same act, you died yourself. To say that that's not forgivable, I think, is going against what the Bible talks about sin and forgiveness.
Yeah.
Now, what I always tell people is, at the end of the day, that's my opinion. I don't know 100%. I can't give someone assurance. Yeah, sure, if you kill yourself, you're going to go to heaven. I don't know. Right. And for me to gamble with something like that, I think the odds are, let's say they're 90-10. Even those odds, I don't want there to be a 10% chance that I don't go to heaven for the rest of eternity. You're gambling with something that has a very, very great amount of weight to it, a far greater amount of weight than just your life on earth.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's worth the gamble. And then number two, I think it shows something very severe about your heart. Suicide at its root is a selfish act. And so I think it shows something when we get to a place, to me it shows a lack of trust in God, a lack of trust in His will and His plan for our lives, and a very selfish act. And so for me it shows something oftentimes with someone where it can at times cause me to question, I wonder where their heart truly was before the Lord. Mm-hmm. And so those are kind of my ramblings about it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. And if you want more, we've definitely talked about this in depth before. And
it is a weird thing.
And I think even that, we talk about like intentional suicide versus like overdose.
Right.
Somebody doing something stupid and overdosing. There's so many different areas that this can go to,
Yeah. Thebe says, my junior high group asked me the same question, told them yes, and they argued with me that it wasn't forgivable. I just told them that I'm definitely okay with them thinking that they will go to hell for killing themselves because I don't want them to do it. So it's true. Unfortunately, do you guys remember, years back, we talked about this, I think back in the early Shock Therapy Live days when we talked suicide, because here's why it's so tricky. Years and years and years ago, a pastor, we won't mention him, but he was sued. Do you remember that? Being sued for...
No.
So there was a pastor from the pulpit who talked about the unforgivable sin versus, this, that, and the other, and can God forgive suicide? and a teenage boy took his own life. And in his room, they found back then it wasn't a podcast, it was a cassette tape, because they had cassettes. This is how long ago it was. And he had been listening to this message by this pastor, and the family sued the pastor because they basically said you gave him the excuse to end his life. And so that's why I like the way that you put it, because it's like, I'm not willing to gamble on that. These are my thoughts. This is my view on it, according to how I interpret what Scripture has to say about the unforgivable sin or unpardonable sin. However, you don't want to gamble with that. So
yeah, and I think people want to get to this place, and we've talked about this with dating before as well. People want pastors or authority figures to draw them a line that they can get up to and make sure that, hey, where's that line?
This is cool.
And I think the question I think we're asking the wrong question when we ask questions like this, because what we're asking is we're saying, how much sin is too much?
Right.
Where I think the question as Christians we should be asking is, how holy is too holy? Don't ask, how sinful can I be and still get away with it? Ask yourself the question, how holy can I be?
Yeah.
And that should be our strive. That should be our goal. And that's where I say a question like this, for me, it reveals more than anything a heart issue for someone who's contemplating suicide, because, they're pretty much asking, hey, how bad can I be and still get to heaven?
Yep.
And is suicide the line for that? Because if suicide's the line for that, then I'm going to stop there. But if suicide's not the line for that, then, hey, that's on the table. And they're asking you to draw this line of sin.
Yeah.
Again, our goal as Christians should be purity and holiness. So ask yourself that question, how holy is too holy?
Yeah.
And that will change the kind of questions you ask about sin.
Man, questions coming in. You can get a question in. Please do. It is Shock Therapy Live. Text in 505-585-LIVE. We also take emails if you want to write them out. It's a good way to do it. studio@star88.fm. We do prefer phone calls, though, because then we can actually go back and forth, kind of dialogue about whatever it is you're dealing with in life.
505-338-3700.
Yeah, call us. We got an email question. Good morning. I am a newlywed. I love my husband. He is a believer, loves the Lord. Before marrying him, I did pray and felt peace as if God was telling me this is the right decision. The day we got married was perfect. I kept waiting for a hiccup, a bump in the road, anything that would stop us from getting to the altar. You see, when I was single, God put a lot of stop signs and a lot of no's with the guys I'd be interested in. So I was waiting for God to do the same here, but he didn't. Everything just fell into place, and we got married. Fast forward, and disaster strikes. He lost everything. His tools for his business, his inventory, everything. We're currently living at his mom's, staying in the living room. I'm on an air mattress, and he's on the couch. Our sex life does not really exist right now. I'm scared that our marriage isn't going to survive this. He's literally starting his business from the ground up again. As a new wife, what do I even do? I'm questioning God. Did I make the right choice in marrying this guy? Are you still with us, God? Are we going to make it on the other side of this together? Confusion gets in my head, but then I get reminded of how perfect our wedding day was. I love him, and I don't want to leave him. I'm doing what I know how to do. I have a job, and we're doing devotionals together. I'm praying for him. We're praying together, but I feel like it's not enough. I just don't know what to do. Sincerely, a young, shaken, newlywed wife.
Man, what's it like to live in Candy World? Because, I mean, has anything bad ever happened in your life? Are you kidding me?
I'm so glad you started with that, because I was like, I have to be calm and not completely immediately blast this human being who wrote this email and feels this way. But
and especially,
how selfish.
especially the issue she's having isn't with him like smoking pot
Right,
against some people. Isn't with
discovering
him.
a porn addiction.
Right.
Or
It's
it's
with-
like,
it's
my
literally with-
husband lost everything, and I just don't know if I should stay married to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
This is why we have wedding vows that say for better or for worse, for
Yeah.
richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health.
Yeah.
Because we're saying that we're going to be there for one another.
Yeah.
In all the good times and the bad times.
Now listen, let me say this clearly. Today is my 16th wedding anniversary.
Beautiful.
16 years. It has been a struggle. It has been a battle. It is the most challenging
Dude,
relationship
yeah.
I've ever been a part of. Some days it's amazing. Some days it's downright horrible. And to steal a line from my dear friend David Myers, I think they just celebrated 20 years.
Wow.
And he put on there, 20 years, and he's reflecting on it. And he said, I guess it comes down to the fact that neither one of us gave up on the same day. And I was like, dang, dude, that is so powerful, because there have been days where I've wanted to give up. There's days where Chrissy's wanted to give up because she has to be married to me. And so I get that it's a challenge, but when I read the email, it was like, all I heard, and so forgive me, this is from my perspective, all I heard was like this weird, selfish, like, our sex life is bad right now. This guy lost his job, he lost his tools, he lost his inventory, he lost his business, and it's like, he's starting over from scratch right now. And so as a wife,
this is
I'm
where I look at
questioning
it.
this.
I look at counting your blessings and not just your curses.
Yeah.
So I look at this, I'm like, man, yeah, that situation really sucks. And I feel for you guys. My wife and I, at one point in our marriage, we almost lost our house. And it was a terrifying time. And it was scary. And we didn't know how we were going to pay the bills. And it was really scary. But what I look at within this, I'm like, man, there's a lot of people who don't have parents who live where they live. And when they lose their house and they lose their job, they're living on the streets and they're homeless.
Yeah.
And man, thank God that you guys have his parents there who are allowing you to stay inside their house. Do you think that his parents want this? Do you think that this is their ideal situation, to have their adult kid and his wife living in their house, sleeping on the couch in an air mattress? No. But thank God that you have that. And thank God that you have a husband who's motivated and trying to start a business again, and not just being a defeatist and saying, well, you know what? I guess that I'm just going to, play video games at my parents' house for the rest of my life. But thank God that he's trying to start a business again, and he's motivated, and he loves you enough to pursue another career and a different job and learn something new. And so, I look at all this, I'm like, man, this is why God made man and woman for each other.
Yeah.
Because guess what? When you have to go through crap like that on your own, it's way harder. But when you have someone who loves you and who can support you and can encourage you, you've got to understand you have this moment in this place in your marriage to have your marriage become more strong and intimate than it ever could have if your life was perfect for the rest of your life.
Yeah, no
we
kidding.
learn more lessons in the valleys than we do on the mountaintops.
Yeah.
And this situation in your marriage could be the best thing for your marriage if you allow it to. But if you decry it, and if you decry your husband, if you decry all these things, it's going to end up destroying it. But you have the choice to let it be the best thing. I promise you, this is fire. And if you submit to this process, you're going to come out of it way stronger. Your marriage will be refined as though by fire, is what the scripture talks about. Trials and tribulations are not a bad thing. They can be a good thing. We just have to allow them to.
Yeah.
And so understand this as well. In this season of life, you can be a voice of God into your husband's life, or you can be a voice of Satan into your husband's life.
Yep.
God has set you up, and God has called you and your husband to be the voice of reason, the voice of love, and the voice of God into one another's life. But the second we begin to see these situations as a spiteful, vengeful thing that God sent us, we can very quickly become the voice of Satan and the megaphone of Satan into our spouse's life.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what you want to do. You don't want to be used by Satan to speak lies into your husband's life.
Yeah, I mean, at the very core of it, it comes down to, do you really trust God? Because it doesn't sound like you do. It sounds like you did when it was perfect and rainbows and wonderful. On my wedding day, it was so perfect, and I was looking for a sign from God, and it was amazing, and I trust him, and our marriage is great. And then one bad thing's happen, and it's like, I just don't trust God. I'm questioning him. I made the wrong decision. I'm like, well, you didn't think you made the wrong decision when you were, quote, trusting God on your wedding day, and everything was perfect.
And this is such a thing that people do. And
don't get me wrong. I'm speaking to me too.
No. What it is, it's a revisionist mentality of looking for signs in things that aren't there. And so, I mean, the Bible's clear. The Bible speaks. I was Nathan Finocchio the other day posted something hilarious. And this is really at the core what I think a lot of people do. So people say that, oh, all my other relationships, there was God closed the doors and there was red flags. And in this one, there was none. And we're basically looking for the hand and the will of God in everything outside of the Bible. Mm-hmm. We're like, did you see right when I told him I loved him, I saw a butterfly fly, and that was God's sign to me that he was the one. And we're looking for God's sign and all these weird things. Nathan Finocchio said this the other day on Instagram. He said, have you ever heard of the flip and stick method of Bible reading? People get spooky about the Bible that they start to treat it like an 8-ball. They're like, God, I need a word from you right now. And so they randomly open up the Bible and place their finger on the page, and whatever verse that they are pointing at, that's what God's saying. Laugh out loud. You have the Holy Spirit. What's wrong with you? And then he says, I feel sorry for the guy who opened his Bible randomly and it said, and he went away and hanged himself, Matthew 27:5. And he didn't like that, so he tried again and got, go and do the same, Luke 10:37. Oh my gosh. Hoping that a third try would work, the next verse he landed on was, what you do quickly, John 13:27. And it's, unfortunately, so many of us get the will of God in ways like that. We're like, well, it's like this mystical thing. Yeah. Look, let me tell you what the will of God is for your life. The will of God is for your life, according to Scripture, is for you to stay committed and married to this man. That's God's will for your life.
Yep.
That's his desire. That's his written word, and that will not change. His desire is that you honor your husband. His desire is that he loves you. His desire is that you submit to one another, that you encourage one another, you support one another. That is God's express, explicit will. You don't have to question it. You don't have to try to look for a sign for it. It is there.
It's good.
Gosh, dude.
All right, we got phones blowing up.
Yeah.
You guys can chime in 505-338-3700. Thanks for holding. Go ahead.
Good morning. Is this me?
It's you.
This is you.
Okay. I heard the letter you guys just read, and it definitely compelled me to want to call in and share my story, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, me.
Okay. So, 2 years ago, almost to the month, right after Christmas, I have my wife, and we have 3 daughters, and I was let go from my job, and it was devastating, you guys. I'm the only provider of the household right now, and my wife couldn't have been more of a blessing for me in that time. I mean, I didn't want to go home and tell her I lost my job. I was scared, felt low. When I finally did talk to my wife about it, she did nothing but lift me up. She did nothing but support me, kept me motivated that God is going to get us through this and there's a purpose for it. Never talked down to me, never threatened she was going to leave me. Supported me. 3 months later, I finally did find a job. Yes, we had a dip in our savings to make it. We almost lost our house. But my point is I'm so grateful and blessed to have my wife in the way she supported me and encouraged me and didn't let me get down in the situation that we were facing. And not only do we, as a married couple right now, love Christ in the bad times, but also in the blessed times that we have. And, I'm getting nervous here, guys. So
You're doing so good.
Yeah.
Bro, you're doing so good. Hey, and I want to commend you because you just reinforced something that we said before.
Yeah.
Our spouses have the opportunity to be the voice of God into our lives.
Yeah.
And God's desire when we get into those bad times isn't that we would crumble, that we would fall, that we would get up, we'd realize that he's walking there with us. And our spouses have this unique opportunity to be like Christ to us and to encourage us and tell us to do that. And so my spouse is the greatest voice of God that I've received in my life. And
even through that, you guys, it made me love my wife, Amber, even that much more.
It's awesome.
And I know I'm never going to give up on her.
Shout her
Bro,
out, man.
you want to say something to Amber?
I love you, honey, and I'm sorry I haven't fixed the dryer yet.
There we go.
Oh, man.
Beautiful.
True
Call
love.
us
True
anytime, bro. That was dope.
The words of a true romantic.
Way to be a man. God bless you, man.
Love you,
Thank you,
dude.
guys. God bless you. I love you guys.
I
Right
see
on.
you, man.
Dryer's been getting some work.
Beautiful.
Oh, you want to take that phone call?
No, not really.
Phone lines are
I think
blowing
we should
up
wrap it up
today.
on that notice. I mean, it can't get any better than that. Okay. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, guys.
Hi.
Is this me?
Hi. This is me.
Go ahead.
Hey, I was calling about, you guys still doing the shock therapy?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. I listen to you guys every morning. You guys, I like the way you guys keep it real. We're faced with a situation now where we met a young man. He goes to school, high school, with my son and my daughter. We come to find out, we gave him a ride home yesterday, and he's more or less homeless. Him and his mother and his father are living in a makeshift RV out on the edge of town, no heating, nothing like that. And my heart really, having 3 teenagers, one kid in college, my heart really goes out to this kid. We want to do what we can to help him out. And, speaking with him, we hate to see the situation that he's going through, because I almost see him like at this point, seems like he's in survival mode. There may be, just from what we've talked to him a little bit, there may be drugs involved as far as his parents are concerned, but we don't know. I would hope the best for him and his family. I'm thinking worst case scenario, And then I'm thinking, the truth probably lies somewhere in between. But we really want to help this kid out. We've told him, hey, if you need help with anything with school, with food or anything like that, we took him a meal yesterday just to make sure, he's doing all right. I just want to see what you guys think about this.
Man, okay. Well, there's so many things to it. One, my wife as a executive director of a school and a child care center works a lot with CYFD. And so if you truly believe that there could be drug usage or this kid could be in harm, you do have a responsibility to alert them. So I would say that from a legal standpoint, because now speaking that out, if something were to happen or this poor kid, some tragedy strikes and you had information and you didn't go to them, that could be bad actually. So legally speaking, I would say, yeah, bro, you got to say something. Yeah, you have to. If for whatever reason you believe that there could be drug usage or he's in danger in any way. What was God placing in your heart as far as like, hey, I want to help this kid, I want to do something? What kind of questions are you asking? What do you mean? What should you do?
This kind of has just been put on our plate, right off the bat. My wife really has a heart, for the kids. She's really, and I'm the same way. I'm like, I have a concern for the parents, whatever. But my heart is really, for this young man. He's 15 years old. He's got his whole life ahead of him, and it's like,
so
wow, there's so many opportunities forward for him, But he's in a situation now where he's like, is this all that the world has for me? And I want him to know, that might be what the world might have for you, but God has a plan for you. God has a great plan for you.
So a couple things that I would say is, one, recognize the need. And a lot of times as Christians, we can get to a place where we think, oh yeah, I'm helping him out, but really we're not. So recognize where the greatest need is. And so what I would say is the greatest need, we do a ministry here called Feed NM Kids. And so we work at a great length with kids who are part of the Title I Homeless Project, which it sounds like this kid might be. And the greatest need they have is food at nights, but then more in particular than that is food on the weekends. Because these kids are at schools, a lot of these kids are at Title I schools where they're given a meal at breakfast and lunch for free by the state of New Mexico, by Albuquerque. But then when it comes to the weekends, they're not eating. Yeah. And so when it comes time for Monday, they don't have food. They're hungry. They're not going to do as well in school. The statistics share that a large amount, 76% of hungry kids will trade sex for food. Yep. The statistics say that hungry kids are 5 times more likely to commit suicide. It really is a scale that is heartbreaking to see what happens with these kids. And so, so recognize where the need is. And then what I would say is once you've identified the need that this kid has, and whether that need is food, that this kid needs food, whether that's that this kid needs shelter, he needs a home, or whether it's just that kid needs to have a safe place that he feels like after school he can come to and hang out with you guys. And I've known a lot of kids that have been like that they had bad home lives and they found a family that was loving and caring, and they spent as much time as they could with that family. And that family became like a second family to them. So identify whatever the need is, fulfill that need until you get asked to stop filling it. Yeah. So if the parents come to you and say, hey, we appreciate you doing this, but we can afford food for our family, we don't need you doing this, or the kid gets embarrassed and he asks you to stop, I would say fulfill the need until you're asked directly not to. And if you feel like there's a need that you can meet and help not just the kid but the parents with as well, offer that. Invite the family over to your house sometime for dinner. Say, hey, we'd love to have you guys for dinner. And what you want to do is you want to get to a place where the parents of the kid are supportive of what you're doing, are encouraged by what you're doing, and they don't feel like you're trying to. What you want to be wary of is you don't want them to feel like you're trying to replace them,
right?
Or that you're in action saying to them that they're not doing a good job. And again, they might have a crazy story. Sure, they might be drug addicts, but maybe they're in a situation like the people that we answered a question for at the beginning. Maybe this guy lost his job. They have no money, no source of income, and maybe they're trying really hard. We don't know the story, but you want to get to a place where the parents don't feel threatened by you, but they feel blessed by you.
Yeah, that's good. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps. That's about where we're at with it. I'm just concerned, like my family. I also have to keep in mind the safety of my family and my kids, and I don't know him that well, and I've never met the parents, so I don't know what situation they're in or otherwise. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, I mean, so you help
for the situation, and
yeah, you help until you're asked not to, but also you can even I would even say this. Look, we want to help you, but if we at any time feel like there's a danger to our family, that's going to end. So I mean, like, very much have that mentality that if it ever gets to a place where you feel like, you know what, I don't feel like this situation is good anymore, then you pull out, and you don't be a part of that situation anymore. You don't be a part of that aid anymore. I think very much you need to think about your family in that situation.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in.
All right. God bless you guys. Have a good. Yeah, you guys have a good day.
You too, man. Do we have another phone call too?
We do. And we have
Dude.
so many questions on the live line. One I definitely want to get to.
Phone calls come first. Thank you so much for chiming in, you guys. Shock Therapy Live, good morning. Hi. Go
Is this
ahead.
me?
All right.
You didn't like it. You didn't laugh at that.
Go ahead, man.
Got it.
All right. So, my name is Sam. I'm in high school.
What's up, Sam from high school?
I've been having this, I have a friend who's an atheist and has been dealing with suicide all her life. And one of the hardest things for me was to try to minister about suicide on how to, avoid it. And since she's an atheist, God isn't really the key. She doesn't really tend to listen to it whenever I talk about it. And so it's hard to make her understand, the point that suicide and living a worldly life isn't the easiest way to do it. And I don't know what to do because I get caught up in the way of saying, I've been there before. I was at the point where I had that idea of suicide and stuff like that too. And so thinking about it, how do I help her? Because she doesn't necessarily believe in God, and I've got her to church before, and she sees it, but she expected the idea of once you got to church, your life is immediately better, and which is not. And I don't know how to tell her that these things that happen, it's for a reason, and whether we like it or not, that's how it has to go. But I don't know what to do, and it's been on my heart for I've known her for a long time, and so it's been on my heart because she's been dealing with this for the longest time. And every time I try to bring the Bible to her, she just shuts it down, oh well, you don't really know if the Bible exists, or you don't really know if God's real, or some dude could have just wrote that and published it as the Bible, and all of us just believe a lie. And she has questions that I can't answer, and it scares me because I'm afraid for her. What if, in that idea of what if, that's, and then you've tried your hardest, right? So, you guys got anything on this?
Yeah. So suicide often roots in three things. It roots in either escape. People want to escape from something. They're dealing with a pain that's too great for them to deal with, or at least that they think is too great for them to deal with. Something has happened. And it could be a multitude of things that have happened. Maybe it's just that they don't do well at school, and they're an outcast and a misfit, and people don't understand them. And so they get to this place of an escapist mentality. It could be a family disruption. Their parents lost their job. Their parents are fighting all the time, and they're just so tired of the weight of what is going on that they get to this place of just wanting to escape. So if they're at that kind of a place in a hopeless situation, what you want to do is you want to find out what that is. You want to talk to them and get to a place where you're man, what's going on in your life? Is it school? Is it something going on with your family? Did something happen to you? Did someone hurt you? And you really want to figure that out, because that's the only way that you can transition them from despair into hope, is by rooting into that place. So you want to figure that out. The other thing that it could be is loss. A lot of times loss is something that causes people to want to commit suicide. This happens frequently in the death of a loved one. Someone that they love dies, and they can't imagine how they're going to live life without this person or without this thing. And so they feel like the only option for them is to commit suicide, so they don't have to deal with that pain anymore. And then finally, another one is guilt. Guilt is a very, very strong motivator for people. They feel like they've done something. They feel like they've committed an act that no one can forgive them for. And so they feel like the best option is to take their own life, because then those people won't be mad at them. They'll feel sorry for them, and they'll miss them. And so those are what I found to be three of the big major themes for people to commit suicide. And so really what you want to do through conversation, you want to figure out what it is specifically that's causing them to feel this way. And then you want to begin to replace the lie with truth. And this is the great part with that. That can be done without someone having to believe in Jesus. Now, it can lead to a conversation. I believe it very healthily leads to a conversation of Jesus. But we can replace that lie with the truth. So perhaps the lie is that Satan has told them that they're ugly, that no one likes them, that they're a misfit, that they could never fit into the crowd. Well, the truth you want to let them know is, hey, you need to know that you're beautiful. You need to know that you were created with purpose. You need to know that people genuinely like you. You need to know that if you were to commit suicide, I would be devastated to not have you in this world. You want to begin to replace the lie with truth.
Yep.
And that's the same for guilt. That's the same for loss. That's the same for all three of those things that I brought up. Is you want to identify the lie, and then you want to replace the lie with the truth. And that's really what I have found to be the most effective pattern, is to build this relationship, build this conversation, and then begin to replace the lie with the truth.
Yeah.
There's a couple great books that I can recommend to you. Josh McDowell wrote a book about suicide that is really compelling. Let me find the name of it. It is called Struggling with Thoughts of Suicide by Josh McDowell. That is super helpful for a situation like this, and that can be really helpful. There's another great book that doesn't deal directly with suicide, but it deals with the root cause, and I think the principles within it can be helpful for someone contemplating suicide or cutting. And that is called... Hope. It's called Hope and Healing for Kids Who Cut. And then the third book that I would recommend doesn't deal directly with suicide or any of these things, but it deals with the root cause of finding the lie in someone's life and replacing it with the truth. And that's written by a buddy of mine who just came to town. His name's Carlos Whitaker. And the book's called Kill the Spider. And Kill the Spider is a book that I would recommend maybe you read, but also that'd be a great book to give to her, because it's not outright dealing with, hey, I'm really concerned about your thoughts of suicide, why don't you read this book? Yeah. It deals with what I feel is the root cause of suicidal thoughts, and that's, again, there's a lie in their life, and they're believing the lie. And what Carlos calls that is the spider. And he identifies that in our lives, we all have spiders, and they're agreements we've made with a lie. And that what we need to do as Christians, not just as Christians, as human beings, is to identify what those spiders are, corner those spiders, and then kill the spiders. We need to break the agreement with the lie, and we need to make an agreement with truth. And so it's a really encouraging book that I think could help her immensely.
I like that. That's really good, and she's actually a really good reader. So
there you go.
There you go.
Thank you guys so much. This is going to help in so many ways.
Perfect.
Awesome, man.
All right. Lady, guys.
All right. Okay.
Good kid.
Yeah, seriously.
Dude, it's been a good show.
It's been great.
Just end it now.
Yeah, I tried to end it earlier.
No, we got some big questions.
I'm going to drop the mic. Turn my mic off.
Got some big questions.
Turn my mic off.
Get out of here. You can text into the show if you'd like, 505-585-LIVE. I got a couple for you over here. 1, October is Infant and Pregnancy Loss Awareness Month. I've had multiple previous miscarriages, but most recently I had a 6-week ectopic pregnancy that ruptured inside of me that required emergency surgery just over a week ago. For some reason, this loss feels more catastrophic to me, and I'm struggling with guilt and blame. I have 2 children and a husband. I've been trying to be strong for them, but secretly, I am struggling a lot. I feel like if you talk about it, people get tired of hearing it because they don't want to hear negativity. So that leaves me talking to God about it. I'm trying to figure out the proper way to grieve, I guess. Any help would be great.
Well, number one, I would say don't try to hide it from your family.
Yeah.
I think that can actually become a huge source, is we never fully get out the grief that's within us. And so rather than, it doesn't have any place to go, so it just bottles up inside of us. And it prolongs this process. The Bible says that there's a time to grieve, there's a time to mourn, there's a time for joy, there's a time for laughter. What I would do is I would sit down with your kids and your husband and say, hey, I just want to have a family, I don't want to talk. And then I would just talk to your kids. Your kids need to know this as well. They need to. I remember when I was a kid, my mom had a miscarriage, and man, I remember it was so devastating for her. And I remember at the same time, like the same week, my dad found out that his dad died as well. And so I remember the grief that they went through and how profound and how powerful that was and how difficult that was. And I think it's important to have a level of honesty within that. My wife had a couple miscarriages, and she actually had a miscarriage where she had, I was out of town, and it was a later term miscarriage, and she actually delivered this fetus into the toilet, and it was heartbreaking. It was devastating for her. And I think it's important when things like that happen to talk about it. I would get your family together, your husband and your kids, and I would say, hey, you guys might have noticed mommy's been having a hard time. She's been different lately. I want to explain to you why this happened, and then just express it. Say, this is so painful for me. This is so hard for me. And it's not hard for me because I love you less, or I feel like you guys aren't enough. This is hard for me and go into the reasons why it's hard, why it's difficult. What it's going to do is it's going to endear your family to you, and they're going to be able to be that voice and that microphone of God into your life that we talked about earlier in the show. They're going to be able to encourage you, to strengthen you. They're going to understand that if there's a day when you're a little short, they're going to know why. And guess what? It's better to know why than to just have someone be short with you and not know why. So if you explain this to them, it gives them grace for you. So I think that's important. And then number two, I think it's important to find a support group of people who have been where you've been and who can help you with practical things of how to get to where you're going. And so I would try to find that in your church maybe, or look around and find some support groups for women who have dealt with miscarriages, and find that support, find that help, and recognize that you need to allow a time to grieve, and then you need to fully invest in that time, and then trust and allow God to remove you from that time down the road.
Yeah.
But if you just try to hide it and not talk about it, it's just going to get worse.
Man. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what a lot of people are chiming in with. Prayer and fellowship helps a lot. Finding those, as you said.
But when I say fellowship, not like fake fellowship. Like some people are like, oh yeah,
like
I want to have
people who
fellowship.
have been through the same thing that you can talk to, that you can pour out to each other. Like, this is how I feel, because it sucks. It's not. It's okay to not be okay with this. Yeah. So, anyways, all right, we got another one to get to. Question: if your wife isn't as encouraging as others, and sometimes, in fact, is more discouraging, what is your suggestion? I've tried taking her to church with me, but she really doesn't care to go to church. I love her with all my heart, and I don't want to be a baby, but sometimes, man, I just need a pat on the back for my efforts. Or maybe I'm wrong in this. Am I being a baby, wanting a little recognition for something I should just do as a husband?
Oh man. So I
right?
hate. I'm just going to be upfront. I hate my answer to this, because as a human, I hate personality tests, and I hate all these kind of things to discover who you are and what encourages you. I hate it. My wife always has me do it, and I hate it. But that's what you guys need. I really think you guys need to take some personality tests together. One that I would recommend, because it's free and it's spooky accurate, is called 16 Personalities. And what I love about it is it's really going to get into what encourages you, what discourages you, what encourages her, what discourages her, what are recipes for disaster in romantic relationships, and what are successes. That can really help. And then I would recommend that. And then I would recommend getting a book called The Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Again, I hate that I'm answering this question this way. But honestly, I think that's what you guys need. It sounds like one of your love languages is words of encouragement, and it sounds like hers probably isn't. And I think you guys need to kind of discover what your love languages are,
and have
so
this
you can learn how to
with
help
her.
each other.
Yeah, dude, Chrissy and I, again, 16 years today, and I'm a big old baby. I'll tell you right now, talking about like wanting a little recognition for something, like I needed those words of encouragement, and Chrissy, everybody else is like, oh, you're so awesome. None of their words mattered to me, right? So, but when my wife was oppositely either discouraging or just wasn't really saying anything, it was awful, and I did not have the best response to that in different seasons. It was like, fine, if you're not going to encourage me, I'm going to find somebody that will. Because on the flip side,
most guys are words of encouragement and physical touch.
Yeah.
That's like a huge resounding theme. Most girls are acts of service. And that's why, so a lot of times you'll see this, stay-at-home mom will spend all day cleaning.
Yep.
Husband will come home, not notice any of it, sit down and say, what's for dinner?
Right.
And it will devastate the wife because she spent all day expressing her love language of cleaning the house, making sure the kids are fed and all these things, and they're not getting any encouragement or response from their husband.
Yeah.
And the husband comes home and he's like, well, I just want to have sex and I want my wife to tell me she loves me. And then the husband's mad.
Yeah.
And so you have this,
Dude.
and
Marriage.
this is really what it comes down to is you guys are both speaking a different language.
Yeah.
It would be like one of you speaking Spanish and the other speaking English and then mad that neither of you can understand each other.
Yeah.
You
Dude.
got to learn to speak the same language.
Lo siento. It's tough.
What'd you say, man?
I said I'm sorry, bro.
Oh, you need to speak English.
It's true though. Oh man, phone lines are open.
Do we
If you
want to
wanna-
take a call,
Take
guys?
it.
We got about 8 minutes left. Good morning.
Hi, is this Star 88?
It is.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah, it is.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Jacinda. I wanted to talk to the morning invasion.
That's
Yeah.
us.
Go ahead.
Is this them?
Yeah, this is us.
Hi,
Not
I
like the
wanted to
TV
say
show, like
that,
this is the morning invasion.
Yeah.
I am someone who's recovering from suicide. I mean, I have recovered basically from suicidal depression. I was hearing they're talking about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to say
On
they
the
anymore.
show?
It's us.
This is us.
This is
Yeah.
Dex,
You're on the show.
Steve-O,
You're
and
live
Nate.
on the show. People
Yeah,
all
you're
across.
live.
Okay,
You're
well,
live.
anyway, I am a recovering person. I knew the Lord, but I got mad at the Lord and fell away, and then I became suicidal.
Okay.
I also would like to say that I think it might have been partly demon. I was addicted to trances, which I would like to talk about what happened to me because of my addiction to trances, because it's come up on your show. But the thing is that I had a guy that took care of me, but I would be very careful with a guy taking care of a girl
Yeah.
because a girl will drive a guy crazy.
I agree.
But
Trances
I
are
knew the
bad.
Lord.
Let's not do trances.
No trances.
No trances.
No
No
trances.
demons.
No.
Yeah.
No false
No
worship.
hypnosis.
I mean, we're coming up on Halloween, and that was actually a question earlier that we hadn't gotten to yet about.
No, it's
Halloween
you're so right. The spiritual
Yeah.
realm is very, very real.
Yes.
And when you mess
But
with
I
that,
think-
it's hard to turn it off.
Yeah.
Plus,
But,
who
I
really
mean,
likes
the
trance
girl-
music? You know what I
No.
mean? When's the last time
Stop
you was
it.
at a
All right.
rave? Like, I
trusting
love
a guy
trance.
to take care of her, but it's really best that he finds a girl to take care of.
Right.
Because I overwhelmed the guy, and he was a very new Christian. He was actually into witchcraft before he became
Oh, man.
a Christian.
It's a bad
So,
There's a
situation.
lot going on here.
I drove him crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I just can't see that.
So.
Do you do you think you might be able to write us an email with all the information because
We'd
we're
love
almost
to.
done with the hour, so it doesn't seem like we're gonna be able to tackle.
Talk to somebody about it, but I deal with dyslexia and dysgraphia.
What's the
That was
second
why I was
one?
mad at God. I got mad at God because they said, well, all things happen for the good for the reason, and I ran away from God, and then I started listening to Petra. I'm like the guy from Mercy Me, but my band was basically Petra until I became a Christian. But even
Petra's
as a Christian, I was
Christian.
like Isaiah, I was suicidal.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
so...
Man.
You have been my favorite call this morning. I'm not gonna lie. This is amazing.
That's crazy.
Honestly, in real
I would
life,
really
thanks
love-
for your honesty.
No,
and
I
thanks
would-
for pouring out like
I
what's
would
going
really,
on in your
I would
world.
honestly really love to hear your whole story because
Yeah,
it sounds like
seriously.
you've had a crazy life.
See, I want to share it, but I also never got, because they said, well, write a letter to Petra for the favorite band, and I couldn't write a letter to Petra because I don't spell. Now, Petra probably still has some of my letters, and I sent them a bolo tie. But, I mean, they're, along with Karma, too. I found out about them on Jesus Northwest.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, we
But,
love
yeah,
you,
the song
and
brought me back to Christ. So...
well,
That's
thank
awesome.
you so much for
Well,
calling in and sharing.
Stay
your
away
story.
stay away from men who practice witchcraft.
Yes.
And send us a bolo tie.
No, that's not what we learned from this.
Nate will wear it.
Nathan, thank you so much for calling.
Love you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay.
All right, I'm
We
not-
are out of Joe. If you answer that phone.
I just busied it out. Phones aren't working.
Were we just pranked?
No,
That's real?
That's real.
Okay.
That's real.
If that's awesome.
Don't do drugs.
No, stop
no,
it right now.
I know.
It's-
Well, that's what she came out of.
Yeah. No, seriously, don't do drugs or practice witchcraft.
Right.
That's like a true story.
All right.
I guarantee you she would corroborate that and say, yes, kids, don't do drugs or practice witchcraft.
All right, that'll do it. We're
Or
out.
date guys who practice witchcraft and want to take care of you.
Dang it, we had one more question.
Nope,
about,
we are
like,
done today.
Here's my question. Was that like a double
Yeah.
entendre? He wanted to take care of me.
I don't know. Okay, wait. You're not here the rest of the month, though, and we have to answer the Halloween question. Can I
I'm
just
so
take my
happy
kids
that-
trick-or-treating?
I'm not answering that. The show's
Oh,
over. Sorry.
Fine. I hate you.
Yep. All right, thanks, everybody.
Stay away from trance music and dudes who want to do witchcraft.
All right.
That's what I
The theme
learned
of
on
the
Shock
show.
Therapy Live.
Guys, have a beautiful day. If you missed any of the show, any of Shock Therapy Live, go back. iTunes. It'll be up on YouTube and, of course, Facebook. Star 88 FM. We'll see you tomorrow.
That's all we got. There ain't no more. That's right. Time is tight. It's the end of the show.
For over 40 years, La Salita Restaurant has been serving New Mexican food to Albuquerque.